We like the show. We're here to say it's time.
Why does it do that every once in a while?
Physical media, and it's not gay. Crap, wrong one.
Gay.
Yeah, it only seems to do it to you, man.
I don't know why it does that. I have a set, the intro set. I just hit go live and play it. It has the play intro, and it. Why does it do that to me? I think StreamYard hates me. I really do. Your eyes do not deceive you. We are live, even though the intro did not play. It did not play, but we are live. So, hi, everybody. The word of the day is fuck off. No, just
First 49 seconds, we're screwed.
We're done. We're canceled. We're out. I don't even know where that came from. It just came out.
You had a moment.
I had a moment. But yeah, we did start a little earlier today, but so make sure you tell your friends and family and all that, not the kids, because we just got canceled. That we are live. I'm gonna say hi to the chat real quick, even though I know not everybody's in it just yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and say hi. So we'll get this party started. What is up, Random Brad? Glad to have you with us. I hope you enjoy the replay when you come back to watch it. Hell, FKHC 2005, glad to see you with us. Hell, Clark the Shark, my good friend, glad to see you there as well. Hello, John the Beagle Dad, happy hump day to you, and you will be seeing the goods. Hell to you, Brian Barth, glad to see you in the chat. Psycho Not Your Daddy, perfect time to start. Just finished both the Dentist movies. I'm ready, let's party. I love the Dentist movies. I love those movies. Those are great. Corbin Burnson is insane in those movies. Great movies, great movies. Hell to you, Berserker 99. Yes, glad to have you with us. And hail to you, Tyrell72. Sorry, I almost said your name wrong. Live long and prosper. Yeah, Rook, you never know with that kid anymore. Did you see that? Yes, you can. I think we talked about this before. You can get the full season on DVD, but it's missing 5 episodes, and some of the songs have been changed. So at that point, I mean, that's up to you. I mean, I would love to have the full series, but I mean, that's kind of... that's kind of aggravating. What is up? Tell him Freddie sent you. Nice to see you. What's up, Cowabunga dude? And tell him Freddie sent you. Just watch RoboCop. All right, RoboCop's a good movie. You know what I say to that? When you watch RoboCop,
I'd buy that for $1.
I love that guy's laugh. It just always gets me. But welcome everybody to the Physical Media Show. Why can't I don't know? It's music rights. Music rights run a lot of physical media releases. In some cases, specifically like television shows, not so much movies. Sometimes they do change the songs in the movies, but for whatever reasons, they don't like to pay. And sometimes they don't like to pay the artist, and sometimes the artists don't like, they have a thing.
A lot of the time it's because they didn't think ahead and get the certain rights to home media and other things like that. So then they have to renegotiate with these people, and sometimes it's damn near impossible to get the rights. Like even WKRP, they still only got like 90% of the music. It's still missing, like, obviously the Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff that for some reason it was just never thought of ahead of time like they do now to make sure that they have the license and the rights to all that shit. So
yeah. I mean, that's what ruined the American release of the TV series Werewolf from the old Fox. You remember when Fox first started the TV show Werewolf? They were working on a physical media release for the U.S. and the music. Whatever music, the people would not play ball, so it canceled the whole release. But it did get like a French release, I believe. I don't think you can buy it anymore. I think it's sold out, but it was, I believe, region free. But that was it.
21 Jump Street was another one with that problem. Now I imported it from, I think, Germany or Australia. I can't remember which. I think it was Germany. And it has all the original soundtracks on it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And Knights in White Satin is missing from the Wise Guy Blu-ray. Yes, I do know that as well. It's just the luck of the thing, the way
Miami Vice was another one that it took years for them to get that shit all sorted out. I know. Wonder Years is another one that I think they still only managed to get like 80% of the music rights to or whatever.
Yeah, and the Bundys, the Married with Children,
Yeah.
the DVDs, it's not even Love and Marriage plays in the opening.
It is on the Mill Creek ones though.
The Mill Creek ones, the original DVD releases didn't have them.
Yeah, I know. They for some reason they worked it out somewhere in between. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Probably because, excuse me, I'm eating my supper.
Yeah,
Probably because between the time the first DVD set came out and now, music residuals have gone way down.
Yeah.
So they're like, we need that DVD money. Give it to them for whatever they offer us.
Exactly. Good old entertainment music, which is funny because two of my movies I have tonight deal with a lot with music and stuff. So that's pretty funny. Two of my picks. So we'll get into that when we get into the movies. What do we have for upcoming releases? I did think that we saw some good ones, didn't we? Or did we get them all already?
We did have a few. No, we did have a few, I believe. We because a couple I think came in right after the day after the show, or not too long after the show. I think yesterday, last time, if I remember right. I just got to get I wasn't prepared here.
No, that's why I figured you was kind of still munching a little bit, so I was going to bring him up.
That was my fault. I was like, oh crap, yeah. We got All of Me coming from Lionsgate and Vestron, and that's the Steve Martin, Lily Tomlin film. That's just standard Blu-ray. It looks like. Freaked is coming from Umbrella in 4K. Let's see here. What else have we got? I know there was a
Death Wish 3 is coming in 4K.
Oh yeah, I knew there was that big Kino Lorber one. That was that's it. Death Wish 3.
Mona
4K.
Yeah, 4K. Death Wish 3. Mona Lisa, starring Bob Hoskins, is coming to 4K. Possibly, it's rumored. It looks like from Arrow.
And then let's see here. What else?
We got all the Arrow steelbooks.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. So it was Mona Lisa, Rawhead Rex, Creepshow 2, The Visitor, To Live and Die in L.A. I'm trying to remember all the ones because we saw them all. I think you got
most of them, if not. Yeah.
Yeah. To Live and Die. I feel like there's one more I'm missing.
I don't remember anything else, but yeah.
Way
of the Gun is getting a 4K steelbook.
The Apartment and The Visitor. There you go. And Nightbreed.
Yeah.
Nightbreed.
Yeah. And other than that, I think we're caught up. I think that was everything.
Yeah.
Unless I missed something.
I think that was it. I think that's every one of them. Yeah. A Problem Child on 4K would be probably pretty cool.
There's been I think Kino Lorber might be them, or I think it was Kino Lorber who might be doing them. Those I think have been either announced or definitely heavily rumored. I do remember that. We mentioned it a while back. But yeah.
That'd be cool. Because I know Mill Creek has the Blu-rays of them. So it'd be cool.
Yeah, but that was a while ago, so they're
due. They're due. Yes, To Live and Die. Which is funny because I was telling Tom this because when we saw this, like some of these Arrow titles that are coming to 4K.
Most of them were Kino, Kino were, I think. And
Kino and Shout has a couple.
And Criterion, I think, was because Thief was one of them too, wasn't it?
Yes, Thief was one of them. Yeah, so
and that was when I just got in the Criterion sale, but yeah.
Yeah. I know Nightbreed is Scream Factory. They did that. I wonder if it's going to be the full like Cabal cut of the film.
Yeah, because I think I think that one only got the 2K Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
And the theatrical was the 4K, if I remember right. Yeah.
Creepshow 2. I mean, that's like the third or fourth Creepshow 2 steelbook, ain't it? So
yeah, but it's never been released in 4K. So if this is 4K, it's the first time for that.
Okay, yeah.
Which is not as good as the first one, but it has a couple of good ones in it.
I mean, everybody loves the Raft. The Indian one ain't too bad.
Yeah, the Indian one's the best one, probably.
Yeah. But I think that was about it for releases and everything.
You said we knew Cobra was in there already too, right?
Yeah, Cobra. We said
last
Cobra
week, I think.
And the stuff. No, that's pretty funny though. That like, did you buy the Kino Blu-rays of Death Wish 3? Because it's like not long after now they're releasing the 4K.
Yeah, I did.
sometimes I do hold.
But you know
off
what?
like
Those are movies now that I have every single like Blu-ray that has ever come out of every Death Wish movie, even a couple imports. So you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, at this point in time, why not?
And I've watched them enough that it's kind of justifiable. Because those are movies where I brought them on here, but I've watched them multiple times that I just didn't bring them on. But yeah, here and there, like almost all the time, it's like, oh, what am I in the mood for? Death Wish.
Yeah, I do that
like
too.
every time I go to reach for Death Wish 2, it's like smack my hand. No, you've seen it enough. Get enough. You know.
I mean,
because like that's the one I've seen the most. I'm sure I told you that when I brought it on here, but yeah.
I mean, I do the same thing. I mean, that's why we buy all these. Like I've said before a million times, that's why we buy these, is so we can rewatch them. And I've rewatched a lot of stuff before that I haven't brought on before on the show. But
we've had an embarrassment of riches of releases in the last couple of years to where I haven't gotten the time to get back around to certain ones I want to rewatch again. I mean, I've watched Jaws enough times and I'm going to get another copy of. It's almost like I have as many. I almost have more copies of Jaws now than I've seen it in 4K. As many times, like it's getting that bad. But anyhow.
It's true. It's true. All right. Well,
yeah.
How do we want to do this? I know once again, Tom has more than me, but Tom has more. I would say more free time, but you really don't. So I don't know how you do it. Get it in there and get them off.
I can start if you want.
I mean, if you want to, or I can go first. I mean, I know I have less than you, but I figure we'll do the two we have together near the end.
We'll blend at some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start here because this is one that kind of sad. It's one of the only ones of the franchise that didn't end up getting a Blu-ray release, or even a 4K, because a couple of did there too. Since Apple bought the rights to them now, but it is in HD on Apple Plus, so I did watch it there. But I also have the old DVD, of course, of A Good Man, Charlie Brown. Yeah, Warner Brothers released it back in the day. This looks like shit.
Of course.
Especially compared to the newer version, and the sound on the newer version, a new remaster as well. And you're just like, damn, I wish it would get a release, but at least there is a featurette on here, which is kind of interesting. But for those who don't know what this is actually got a special, this is kind of one of the specials, and it's one of my favorites next to Great Pumpkin and whatchamacallit, Christmas one, because chances are, if you were a theater kid, you probably did this play or know somebody who did this play. Because this was a okay. So I believe this was in the early 70s, somewhere in that region, or in mid 70s, somewhere in there. This guy who wrote basically the music, the songs that we hear in the show, in the special. He just wrote the songs and he went in and played them for Charles Schultz. Charles Schultz loved him, and so did the other guy who handles everything. I forget his name. And they're like, well, so what do you want to do with them? And they're like, well, he's like, well, I'm thinking maybe a play, like a stage play. So all at that point he had was the song. So then they worked together. Bill Munns, that's his name, or Munns, or how we say his name. So they all worked together and kind of just came up with this little storylines to kind of intersperse between the songs. And what they did was took a lot of, the classic Peanuts shorts, and they're like, okay, I like this, the little strips. They're like, okay, I like this one. Let's do an animated version of that. Let's do an animated version of that. And that, and just little things to connect each song to each other. And the music is actually really good. And so what they did was, they actually did the stage play. And at one point it was the most performed stage play in the world. So that's why I say chances are you either knew somebody who's been in it or you've been in it yourself. Yes. So I don't know if it is anymore. I'm assuming now it's probably Wicked or something like that. But
yeah,
at one point between the 70s and 80s, Your Good Man, Charlie Brown was the #1 play between high schools everywhere, all over the world. Because it was really simple and easy to do. And it's a lot of kids, easy, simple music. And everybody kind of knows the characters and stuff. So it's, pretty easy to kind of entry. It's, the costumes are easy and all that business. And so as the play kind of did its thing, they're like, well, now we should probably do an animated version of it with the actual kids singing, because when they did the play, it was adults playing the kids all the time. And they did release a record album of it, which I have. I should have grabbed it. I should have dug it out. But it's the adults from the play singing it.
Right.
And they did one also with Orson Bean as Charlie Brown as well. So there was actually a couple albums of this before they even animated it with the kids singing. So what you have here, though, is actual kids singing, and, you know, it's the animated version of the special. And it's just like a 45, 48-minute special, like an hour-long special it would be on television.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of my favorites. It needs a Blu-ray or 4K of some type, but unfortunately, I think it's in the grasp of Apple now. You got to watch it on Apple Plus. So, yeah. But if you haven't checked it out, do check it out. And the music's actually pretty good. And most people have seen it. Once you put it on, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Came out in 1985 as far as this version goes. So yeah.
It's funny is that Apple has no interest in releasing stuff on physical media.
I know, right?
It sucks. It's fortunate for some, because some like the TV shows like what's that? What's the Ted Lasso? Luckily, it's also partially owned by other people, so they were able to put it out for people who wanted to see that. But it kind of sucks that they bought up Charlie Brown and won't give us Charlie Brown. I mean, luckily, good thing we got all the other ones on 4K beforehand. But you know,
yeah, they've been scattered all over the place, because like Warner Brothers had them for a while, so I had a couple of the Warner DVDs, and then Paramount released a couple of the Snoopy films on Blu-rays. Well, they would call them the Snoopy collection, but it had like, you know, Snoopy Come Home, and I think the race one with the raft, and the one where Charlie Brown goes to Paris. I can't remember what it's called, but it has like 3 or 4 of the movies in there. So the actual theatrical films they released. So I have those, and then they did the 4Ks of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Otherwise, they've been kind of hit and miss, but there's a whole fucking show, right? A whole Saturday morning cartoon that ran for years as well. And it's all on Apple Plus. But you got to have Apple Plus to watch it. So it's like, yeah. But I mean, I grew up with the Peanuts, and they're, you know, and I didn't really care for that CGI movie they did like almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
It would have been all right, but it felt more like a greatest hits album done by a completely different band. Or like a band that they're calling themselves the Peanuts, but they're not really you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it had all the things in it. It's like, we've seen all this shit before. It's all just like greatest hits album. It's like,
but it's not them. It's like it, but it's not.
Well, the Peanuts have had enough movies to where it's like you just do a new story. And the only thing I think I liked about that was that I think he finally got to meet the little redhead girl, and they got to have a dance at the end or whatever. Like, okay, finally you took it one step further. That's what this whole movie should have been about. Right? It was like he finally got a date with the little redhead girl, and the whole movie's about him trying to become the cool kid so he doesn't fuck up on his date with the redhead girl. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been a Charlie Brown movie right there.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It happens.
But instead, it just was like a bunch of greatest hits shit, and then all of a sudden, a little interstitial shit here at the end. But anyway, this is good. This is fun. Great music. Very memorable. Check it out if you haven't got a chance. If you can find it outside of Apple Plus, doubtful.
Yeah. Okay.
I think even the DVD's been out of print, but you can still get it for like $20. I think it is.
Yeah, it really. I mean, sometimes you can find those DVDs pretty cheap if you know where to look.
They were mass produced enough, and it's not like it's that in demand, I guess you could say. I mean, Peanuts have fallen off. And that's the other problem, is Apple keeping them so close to the chest now. You know that. You're keeping other generations from enjoying these things.
It's almost like you had to pry it out of their hands, just have them show them on PBS at Christmas time.
Well, ABC or whatever it was that, yeah.
No, I mean, no, once Apple got them, I think they allowed PBS to show the Christmas special after
I thought ABC did license it this last year again for a couple more
years. Was it ABC this last year? I remember.
I think they finally did again, but for a couple of years it wasn't on television, you're right, because of Apple. Yeah. Which is sad because it was the longest running Christmas special.
Yep. So. That sucks. All right. Well, keeping sort of like with a little bit of a musical. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
No. I thought you were going to say something.
No, I said, yeah. Like,
Yep.
yep.
Oh, yep. Oh, sorry. They dropped it because it was expensive. No, I don't think it was expensive to air. They just Apple bought it, and they
No, Apple. Yeah, Apple just
Yeah.
wanted it proprietary to Apple Plus, and then I
Yeah.
think they got enough complaints from people, and I think ABC or whoever it was ponied up enough money that, and that's the only one I think they paid for. I don't think they get the Great Pumpkin or anything like that. I think they just bought the rights to the Christmas one, and I think it was only for like the next decade or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a story I remember covering it like a year or two ago. But like, yeah, it's just been goofy ever since Apple bought them, and Apple only bought them like not even 5 years ago, because it was Universal that released the Christmas and the Thanksgiving and the Halloween special, and they did that then because, and the only reason those movies and all these Christmas specials we've got in 4Ks is because the money is there from the broadcast versions, and they want the better versions for broadcast.
Yeah.
So that amortizes the cost of those, and that's why we actually get those quicker or have them in plentiful whatever. And maybe, I don't know if Apple owned them yet. I don't think so. I'd have to go look, but maybe they just did a deal with Universal and released it through. Maybe it was NBC, and that's why. And they made a deal to release the Blu-rays through it. That could be, maybe it was NBC. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody can find it if they really want to look it up. It's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you got?
Okay, I'm gonna keep it with a little bit of a musical theme here. But what's up, Corlin Rogue? Glad to see you there, and Steven Deleted Scenes and Double Fat seeing you guys pop in. I got a pick that might surprise some of you guys, for who's been watching the show for a long time. Probably didn't think I would watch this type of movie. But I don't even know if Tom likes this movie personally. But I have Singles, directed by Cameron Crowe. From the
I honestly
90s.
have never seen it. I have the soundtrack.
Never. I do too. That's why I brought it. I also brought the soundtrack along.
It's not that I didn't really want to watch. I just never. Maybe I did see it. Did I see it?
I hate this. The paper. I hate that. It's just,
Yeah, that's not the soundtrack I have. I have an older one where it's just I think one disc.
Yeah,
so that might be an expanded soundtrack.
Yes,
something.
this is. This contains the live performances from the movie and songs that were scrubbed from the movie that they put on. So this is the actual comprehensive soundtrack of the movie.
You know what? I have seen it, but it's been like 30 years or whatever. I remember it came out right around the same time as Reality Bites. And no, I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't one that I felt like I've ever picked. I just haven't seen it on Blu-ray or anything. I probably would have picked it up, but it's not also one that screamed out to me, I gotta get it now, you know.
No, I get you. I have a fondness for that. I have a fondness for like these 90s Gen X movies, and I've kind of gotten bitten by that bug a little bit after watching PCU to watch like these 90s Gen X type movies. I haven't seen this one in a long time. I actually really do like this movie. There's just something about it. I don't know. And I know some people don't like the grunge movement and all that, but it had its moment. It had its moment in time. So it is a time capsule of the 90s. No Nirvana. I'm actually kind of glad there's no Nirvana in it, to be honest with you. I really am. I think they chose the right Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and oh god, it's right here as a soundtrack. I can't even remember their names. Alice in Chains. So I'm really glad that they didn't kind of have their Nirvana. But no, for those of you who don't know what this movie is about, which I'm really surprised this does not have a 4K, to be honest with you, or like a Criterion or something. It's actually pretty good Blu-ray. It's got 25 deleted extended scenes, including 16-minute extra of the Ballad of Janet and Dr. Jeff, which is an extra scenes with Bill Pullman, who's in this, and Bridget Fonda. It's got two complete where am I at? Never Before Gag Reel, complete live performances from Soundgarden and Alice in Chains that they use in the movie. They actually had them sing live, and they put it in the movie and everything. Like, because Cameron Crowe with not almost. Is it Almost Famous? That's what it's called. His other movie where he was like,
yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, about his life or whatever, sort of. He hung out with all the rock stars and stuff. So
yes, that would be Almost Famous. Yep.
Yes. This movie is essentially about singles. There's this group of singles who live in this apartment complex, and like the lead single guy, it falls in love with Kira Sedgwick's character, who doesn't live in the building where they live in, and it's sort of about how they come together and everything, and finding. It's really about finding your love in your 20s or approaching leaving your 20s, and the whole like grunge movement of Seattle at the time. To be honest with you, I was watching this and it took me back to my high school days. It took me back to this girl I knew in high school. You'll love this, Tom. She looked like Christina Ricci. All the teachers called her Wednesday. She hated it. I got friend zoned by her so badly in my senior year. We hung out so much and I ended up getting friend zoned so bad. And that's the extent of my, like, I don't know. I was watching that and the extent of my being single and everything. That's why I was getting into it. And, she was
that
cool.
was my Chasing Amy.
Was it?
Yeah.
But yeah, that girl just made me think about her from high school. We was really close and that's my problem is like with girls is like I always end up finding these women, I should say, not girls, women, that I connect with, but they end up either having a boyfriend or are like not looking. And then when it comes to the moment of like, maybe we do have something, it's a little too late. So, I was in the mood for that 90s after watching PCU. I'm kind of like in a 90s grunge. I should say grunge, 90s Gen X phase, and I really enjoyed Singles. It's been so long since I've seen it. I listened a little bit to the soundtrack. I don't like every band on there, but it's an incredible movie.
Did Chris Cornell have something to do with it too?
Yeah.
I thought
Chris Cornell. Yeah, he's in Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder are in the movie. They're in the movie.
But didn't he write the songs that What's His Face sings or whatever?
Oh yeah, Matt Dillon, Citizen Dick.
Yeah.
So he's in it. Yeah, Eddie Vedder is part of Matt Dillon's band because Matt Dillon is.
I mean, I remember quite a bit of it. It's just I don't know why. It just for some reason that just wasn't my 90s movie about a chick that got to me was Chasing Amy. So
yeah, I get you. Chasing Amy is one of those time capsules of the 90s as well. It like fits right into this. I don't know, but it was great. Like and
Reality Bites and shit.
Yeah, Reality Bites. I was thinking about watching that. It's been so long since I've seen that, but I've never been like. I mean, I like Winona Ryder, but that's not one I really particularly have seen a lot of. So I may get to that. But no, like it's got those, like it's like I said, it's got the one guy in Kira says it's got Bridget Fonda who's madly in love with Matt Dillon, who is a grunge singer himself in a band called Citizen Dick, but they're not connecting right off the bat. And then you have all the friends and people that live there in the building, and it's got like a huge cast of like cameos. Like Bill Pullman, like I said, is in it as a doctor, but he's not in it very long. Jeremy Piven is in the movie as well. He makes a quick appearance. And then it's got Eddie Vedder, it's got Chris Cornell, it's got Alice in Chains. They're all in the movie. So I mean, it's just one of those movies that I do enjoy, and I figured some people might be a little surprised that I like a movie like that because I'm typically not bringing on this type of movies. But man, did it make me think about that girl. It was crazy. It's crazy. Anyways,
made you think about her for a whole nother 5 minutes.
For a whole nother 5. I had not thought about that girl in a long time. I had not thought about that girl in a long time. I mean, high school was like 25 years ago.
Don't remind me, man.
So, that girl has been long off my mind for 20 something years long, but just like whatever that movie brought her into my head. And I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, I remember her. She looked like Christina Ricci. We were really close, and she friend zoned me really, really badly. So, I mean, it's an experience. Bridget Fonda, I think she just got tired of it. I can't say she let herself. I mean, it all depends on your view of whether or not you think she let herself go or not. But I know she just didn't want to be in Hollywood anymore, and for some women to look good, especially, to look good and stay in shape and everything, it's not necessarily for them. I'm just saying,
It was a huge loss. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Her huge gain was our huge loss. Yes.
But yeah, there you go. I just got into that. Thanks to Rick for PCU got me into my 90s Gen X phase. But no, yeah, I was a little bit into grunge. I was. I can't say that I necessarily like the politics of the people that, I mean, it's kind of disappointing to know the politics of these people that were so anti-establishment and everything at the time, how they are today. It's kind of sad. But anyways, that was my first pick for the night. So if we want to go back to you, you can go back to you.
You can go back to you?
Yeah. Hey, we just made a new movie title. You can go back to you.
I'm not leaving you. I'm leaving me.
The story of a man who finally found his life and his purpose.
Gonna go find myself.
Look around the world, pretty baby.
Oh, God. There was a moment in time where that song and the, oh God, what the hell is her name? Making my way downtown.
Oh, yeah.
That was in like every fucking trailer. If I close my eyes. Yeah. That was in every chick flick.
Yeah. What's up?
Shit. Kate Hudson.
Yeah, starring Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. If I could fall into the sky. Anyway, 1,000 miles just to see you.
And
just to hold you.
Talk about a moment in time.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Psycho Not Your Daddy. It's usually whatever they're like when I go ahead.
No, I'm just laughing.
Yeah, I was going to say usually when I get undecided to watch something, I just kind of look at the shelf and sometimes I just pick something and throw it in.
That's why Charlie Brown got into this mix.
Yeah, that's how Singles got into this mix.
It's like it's going to take me fucking hour just to figure out what I want to watch. So I'll just throw this in while I'm deciding what I want to watch. But all right, I think I can knock two out here.
Good.
Because last week I did The Hard Target, and didn't I do a movie like the week before? I did another movie that was kind of in similar vein. I can't remember now what it was.
For
one of us did.
Hard Target. Oh no, we talked about surviving the game and stuff.
Okay, yeah, but anyhow, so on that note, I decided it's time to re-give a spin to No Escape, and yeah. So is this movie in that vein? Ish. It's more so kind of what do you call it? It's like Mad Max meets. It's Mad Max Prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mad Maximum Security Prison. There you go. So it's like it meets Waterworld, a little bit of that kind of feeling to it too. But it's a fun movie, and I'm debating on importing the 4K because I'm sure as soon as I do, they'll end up doing one. And Kevin Dillon's in this too, by the way. Yeah, and so anyhow, Ray Liotta plays this prisoner in this maximum security prison that's on this island, and he breaks out, and there's these two factions of prisoners that are on the island as well, trying to get the fuck off the island. Fortress is what it's called, I think, in some other places, but yeah.
Fortress is with the guy from Highlander.
Oh, that's another one like it. Okay, I was gonna say it has another name in other countries. I can't remember what it was called. I thought maybe that was what it was, but yeah. So there's that one too. Then so there's a few of them that are kind of all in this kind of vein, and it's pretty good. It's fun. It's from produced by Gail Ann Hurd, who of course, if you don't know the name, you should. Terminator and so on. Former Miss James Cameron. But yeah, no, and it was directed by Martin Campbell, who did Goldeneye and Mask of Zorro and shit like that. My only issue with this, because it's MVD, I don't think this is from the 4K master that's out there, because it definitely doesn't look that good. It looks like it's either like an interpositive or a release print, maybe, probably interpositive. Right. But there's also some shots where it feels like it's completely skewed. Like, you know what? I don't know if everybody's watched this, but you know when you watch a really bad bootleg
Yeah.
from somebody who's sitting in a really bad position and everybody's face looks like they're 10 feet tall. Something's off in some shots in this. I don't know. So I'm thinking about importing it just to see if it's worth it or not, or see if it looks any better or not. But other than that, I mean, it's not a horrible Blu-ray. It's an okay Blu-ray. But I just got it because I assumed it would be from the 4K master because that was already out there. But I don't think it is. And if it is, then that 4K looks like shit. There's quite a few special features on here for, you get your typical MVD. Does try to do a pretty good job with that. And on that note, I'm like, well, let's make a twofer out of it because I thought, okay, I'll kind of try to stick with the same plot device sort of again, even though this time I found out again it's not exactly the same.
Oh yeah,
The Hunted, or
very
as we should
different.
call it, Rambo remake. Like honestly, this is more like the original Rambo novel than the original First Blood is. I'm surprised that they didn't have to give David Morrell some kind of fucking writing credit on this.
Especially,
have you seen this movie?
Yeah,
I was gonna say yeah because this is fucking First Blood the novel.
It is.
This is Rambo minus the Sylvester Stallone isms and him taming it down. This is the book.
I'm
like
really
flat
surprised.
out.
Yeah.
Like you even get the only thing it's missing is Teasel. And you still do get kind of a Teasel character, but it's not exactly, you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
I mean, even Tommy Lee Jones is basically fucking Troutman.
Yep.
Like I trained him.
Yep.
I know.
Yep.
He even has the fucking line practically the same. He's like, you go up there, send that many men up there, you better send them that many body bags, basically. I can't even remember exactly.
Yeah.
But it's almost the same fucking line. It's like, how the fuck did he get away with this? How did they do this and not get fucking sued?
Yeah. He's rigged out to both of them crafting a knife. So
yeah, well, and okay, here it is a good movie, don't get me wrong, and it has enough different stuff in it, and that's the thing, is it has more of the themes and the feeling of the original First Blood novel, because for those who don't know, Rambo kills every motherfucker in that book. He goes ape shit nuts crazy, like he just snaps, and there's no like going back at that point. Like, and he knows it by the end of the book, and that's where it's done for. And that's kind of the way this movie is set up too. But his whole thing is kind of the similar thing, is he just wants to get his word out there, his message out there. I mean, there's obviously a few differences because, Benicio's character is, who he is and who he works for the government and all that stuff. And he doesn't exist. He's a ghost, so, and I don't want to give too much away. It's a fun film, but if you've seen Rambo, if you like those kind of movies, you'll dig it. Tommy Lee Jones is great in it. Benicio del Toro is good in it. The supporting cast is pretty good. Sounds like you've seen it, so I don't know if you enjoyed it or not. But if you caught those parallels. But
yeah, exactly. As soon as you mentioned that, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is Rambo. This is like the way if Sylvester Stallone did not have his influence on Rambo, this is Rambo. This is where it was going to go down and everything." Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Nothing is over.
Yeah, nothing is over. Why did William Friedkin direct The Hunted?
Because he wanted to make Rambo, evidently.
Yeah,
and that's that's why it works so well, right? If it had any other director, it probably would have come off cheesy and hammy. Exactly, Steven. It just trucks along, just like the original First Blood. It doesn't waste any time. It just goes.
It gets into it, and you do wait with bated breath to when he gets to, not spoil it too much, but like wanting to see the showdown between Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro. Yeah, you want to. It gets to like you are on the edge of your seat, waiting to see how this is going to turn out. Now, if you know Rambo in the book and all that, you might know where it's headed. So, but yes, the parallels are very there. I'm honestly surprised nobody has ever said anything about it. I haven't heard like a lot of people even bring that up, but I've always thought that.
It's almost beat for beat, line for line in some scenes. Yeah. And I'm like, the only difference is the catalyst, right? The catalyst in this is he kills 2 deer hunters, and in Rambo, it's just because he gets taken out of, what happens in the movie. But instead of, and when he escapes, though, he kills a bunch of those cops and shit. That's the difference. Yeah.
It is. I mean, and there's like, Benicio does play this pretty solid, like, stone cold, like, how do I say? Because he's not, I mean.
Well, and he's doing it on purpose. That's the other difference, right? Yeah. It's almost like he planned it on purpose because he does have a goal. He does have a reason for doing what he's doing. Right. And it's part of the reason, like I said, because he's a ghost, he doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's trying to do is basically blow the lid off the system, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to.
Yeah.
You can't deny his existence if he exists too publicly, if that makes sense, without giving too much away.
Yeah, exactly. Good night, Psychonaut, your daddy. 4 a.m. Good luck with that, buddy. We'll have a good day and weekend yourself as well.
Because like it starts out and they go through all this shit and they're like, they got him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just basically like, yeah, we got to let him go. Like, what do you mean we got to let him go? He doesn't exist.
I know he's a ghost, man. You're not allowed to know about this person at all.
Yeah. As far as we know, this meeting never happened. None of this ever happened.
You say a word, we will deny it, and you will be thrown into a prison.
But he wants to make sure everybody know it happened.
It's
like he was just waiting for somebody to come in the woods. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's planned like this way. He meant for this to happen this way.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen that. I remember that one a little more than I do No Escape. It's been a long time for No Escape, but The Hunted is fairly more recent in my mind.
I think you'd like No Escape. Like I said, it's got that. It's basically like Mad Maximum Security Prison. Like,
it's, I guarantee you, as soon as you buy it, it's going to get the 4K here in the US.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's been sitting in my Diabolic DVD cart forever. I think they've even sold out and got it back in the meantime. I've just been turning on. As soon as I hit buy,
it's gonna happen. Now watch. As soon as since I bought, didn't buy it, but since I watched Singles, it's gonna get to 4K.
Is that a Fox title though?
It's Warner Brothers.
It's Warner. Okay.
Yeah, it looks pretty good though. But no, I have not seen No Escape in a very, very long time, so I am fuzzy on that. But the Hunted,
now that Single seems like one that Kino would pick up or something. Yeah,
it does. It does seem like it would be like a Kino or an Arrow or even a Criterion at this point.
Yeah, at least Kino, but yeah. I could see Arrow doing it, but it's not quite their style.
Not quite. But they are releasing like To Live and Die in L.A. and Thief, Mona Lisa. So.
They're getting fancy.
Yeah, and they did, which we'll talk about later. They did get some other Warner Brothers titles. So
they did.
Yeah. No, I have to get The Hunted. That's a Kino 4K, right?
Yeah, and it's been cheaper here and there when you catch it on sale.
Yeah.
I think that's what I did, is bought it when it was on sale.
That's what I like about Kino. They're cheap.
It's actually been out now for a couple months, I think. Yeah. Oh, and I didn't even talk about how they looked.
Oh yeah, good.
Or how this one looked anyway. Because No Escape I did. It looked pretty good, The Hunted did, believe it or not, considering it's a, I don't think it's an upconvert. I think if I looked right, it was actually from the film. So it had pretty good look to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is German, Rick. I think it's actually, whatchamacallit, our buddies over there at Turbine, if I remember right.
Turbine.
So actually, I requested, like, that was kind of another reason why I was waiting. I'm like, hey, Andre, send them an email and see if I can't get a copy of No Escape. And we never heard back, but yeah.
Hey, it's worth a shot.
We never got free copies of Hellraiser either, which kind of bums us out because they told us we would. So.
Oh man.
I don't know. I say that, and then one of these days, Andre will be like, "I got a big package from the guys over at Turbine." So hopefully,
it's from Germany. It takes a while. So
well, he's over there in Norway, so it makes sense for them to send it to him. And
yeah. No, I did, but I do. That's what I do. I like about Kino is they are pretty cheap to begin with, and they do have a lot of sales, so you can get like this. The Hunted pretty cheap usually. So, yeah, you can. Kino Lorber has a pretty diverse selection. Me and Tom talk about that a lot. Watch Sting Square DVD from Kino. That's cool. Because like we found that one movie with the genie in the beach of the girl. Remember, sure enough, Kino had it. So
that's happened a few times to us now.
Yeah, it's like
where we're like, has this been brought out on Blu-ray yet? Oh yeah, it has. Who put it out? Kino.
They do.
They were quiet for a while. Like I didn't even know they existed until like a couple years ago, and then all of a sudden. They got all these old titles, and good prices and good sales, and I've been spending so much money on them ever since. I mean, I backed off a little bit, but
yeah.
I think if there's sales, it's tough to say no to some of those prices.
I think they're actually having a sale right now. Or no, Barnes and Noble's got 50% off.
Yeah, the Criterion one or whatever.
Yeah, it's it's Kino, 50% off Kino on Barnes and Noble. Yeah, yeah. I think it's still going on. I saw that the other day.
There you go, Pilgrim.
So, there you go. They're usually always on sale and cheap. And Criterion did have a 30% off sale, but I think it was only for like 2 days here recently. So, yeah. Well, there's a Kino titles on Amazon sale right now. So, like I said, they're usually always on sale, always, and you can get them pretty cheap. So if you guys want to hunt it, check it out. No Escape. You might have to, like you said, it was a German import, the one you got, or
no, this is the U.S.
That's the U.S. Blu-ray.
Yeah, this is the MVD release.
MVD. Okay. All right. Well, if you're done there, I'll move on to my next pick. Keeping it in the vein of music, which I'm kind of pissed off a little bit. Not about the movie, but I'll tell you why here in a minute. Because the movie is freaking awesome, and Lemmy is God. Got Airheads. Thank you and shout out to Rick Johnson, because this is one of those very hard to find Blu-rays because it was from Anchor Bay. So I'm really happy to have this on Blu-ray finally. So thank you, Rick. What I'm pissed off about is I realized I did not have the soundtrack to Airheads. So I ordered this. I realized I didn't. I ordered the soundtrack Saturday, and it was supposed to be here Monday, and it's still not here. And I get a thing today that says, if it's not here by today, come back tomorrow and get a refund. Like, son of a bitch. That made me so mad.
I can at least send you a digital version of it.
Yeah. You can do that. You might be able to just make my own CD off of it, or just put it on something. But no, I bought it and I was excited because I thought, oh, I had singles. I had the soundtrack for singles. Yeah, I could bring on Airheads, and I have a soundtrack for Airheads, and kind of like 2 for physical media night, CDs and Blu-rays. But no, they didn't send it to me. But anyways, this is a great movie. Once again, another
no snare drum.
Yeah, I ain't fighting on no snare drum. It is great. The guy wipes his ass with his record contract. I love it. David Arquette, you guys are all like woohoo shit. Chris
Naked
Farley.
Pictures of B. Arthur. Yeah, she's from Golden Girls. I know who she is.
Yeah.
What's this? A football helmet full of cottage cheese? Yeah, in case we want to plead the insanity plea or give the insanity plea later. Makes sense.
Yeah. It's so good. What's the name of the band? The Lone Rangers. The Lone Rangers? You can't pluralize the Lone Ranger.
Got no idea what you're saying right now.
He's lone. You're not exactly. I love it.
There's 3 of you.
Yeah.
You're not exactly lone, are you?
Joe, what's his name? What is it? Magnelli? Is that how you say it? Mantanega? I can never.
Joe Manganiello or whatever.
Joe Manganiello. Yeah, he's great.
He does the voice of Tony on The Simpsons. Yeah. Fat Tony.
Fat Tony. He's great. And Chris Farley is great. I love. It's like this really small joke, but it's hilarious. It's fun. It's like when he finds Brenda Fraser's girlfriend at the bar, and the guys are like, "Hey, look, what's Chubbs doing?" And looking at him, and it shows him from the distance. You don't really hear what he's saying, but he's going. It's just it makes it because like he's like the way they're far away, and he's just like yelling at her. Looks like he's yelling at her, and it's hilarious. It's just like.
I actually have the DVD of that, but I think Rick's supposed to be sending me the Blu-ray. I can't wait to check it out. It's been a couple of years since I watched it.
Yeah, it looks good.
But I've seen it enough times. I used to have the VHS.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. I still have the DVD as well. The DVD has the.
I wrote that song for you. You wrote that song before you even met me.
And then the picture, when they give her the pictures, like, you got to find my girlfriend. It's just her in a bikini with her ass hanging out. It's like classy lady. Or like, I love the he brings up here I was at it with Lemmy, because Lemmy from Motorhead is in the movie. It's like when he's like, my real name's Chester. I used to pick my boogers and play D&D. And like the one dude was like, I used to play D&D too. And then Lemmy's like, I was editor of my school newspaper. And the one guy's like, I used to masturbate every day.
Still do.
Still do.
Are you guys the
Yes.
Lone Rangers?
We saw you guys.
You guys suck. That's one of the
Too bad
best.
that's so say to our face, butt munch. This is great. It's a fun movie. I had not seen it in a long time. I do think it's one of those often underlooked, underseen movies from the 90s comedies. It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. I almost watched Empire Records after it. Cause it's just like, cause like I said, I'm in these mood for now these 90s movies like this. And I almost watched Empire Records, but I didn't, because I brought it on I want to say maybe a year ago.
Well, speaking of that one,
so
you know what we need, Rick, if you're listening?
what's that?
Encino Man and Sunny Low. Maybe even in the Army now, if it's out there. I don't know if that one's got it.
Oh yeah, in the Army now. I have not seen that one in
But
years.
I do know that Encino Man and Son-in-Law have HD ones because I got them on my Fandango, so they're out there. So yeah,
and we need to get those.
Since Disney's not gonna do it anytime soon.
Yeah, they have no interest in it. There you go.
Awesome
Keep
sauce.
us updated, buddy. So when do you think, buddy, the Weasel is going? I don't know if it'll ever get a reprint.
Disney owns it.
Yeah, Disney owns it, and Disney is very content, which it really pissed me off. They're very content with shelving the Fox titles and not doing anything.
Well,
with them.
not only that, it was not a big movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're not gonna pay attention. Like the thing that that's where it puts it in a gray area. If it's a big ass movie, chances are Disney's going to handle it themselves. If it's some offshoot little shit movie that didn't do all that well, like they did with all the, Morgan Creek and Kino Lorber, they licensed a bunch out over the years. But notice they're never ones that, some of them are good titles, don't get me wrong, but none of them are ones that are like huge, big blockbuster hits. But we get lucky, like ones like, like Baby Secret of the Lost Legend and Spaced Invaders, and the Ernest films would fall into that category once in a while, and they'd get out there finally. So those we might luck out at some point. Maybe it'll wind up in a bunch of movies, because that's usually how they do these. I don't know if you've talked to any of those guys over there, but I know you know this just from like some of the more recent Shout Factory shit with the whole sleepaway camp deal or whatever was going on with that. Like what they'll do is these studios will offer these companies these movies, but they have to take like a whole package. They can't just take like one or two movies in that package. They have to take like a whole 12 movies and even it full of titles, and they still have to release them whether they want to or not, of shit that might not sell. Right. And you notice that almost all of the Kino Lorber titles were the same ones that Mill Creek released before from Disney.
Yes.
Minus like the Ernest and some other more important ones. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because I know there was a lot of people that didn't get their hands on those before. And Disney's claiming they don't have a decent enough DCI of Ernest, any of the Ernest films, so anybody can show them now in theaters. So unless somebody has a 35 millimeter print, yeah, you're watching a shit fucking copy of it. So, yeah.
It sucks, because I do want the Ernest Goes to...
They have not been touched, evidently, and they need to be. That is a fucking travesty.
It is. I missed out on the Ernest Blu-rays. I want Ernest Goes to Jail. I want Ernest Scared Stupid. And
Kino, if you're listening,
I would love to have those.
That would be one to really set your goal on for next year or the year after. Put the money in, put the effort in, do a full-blown, get, what's his face, Cherry involved, the other guy who owns Ernest, and get in there and give us a full-blown, all-in Ernest everything fucking box set. All the movies, all the TV show specials, all the fucking commercials, everything. Everything. Get it all out there as best you can in the best fucking quality you can, because it will sell. Go look and see what Ernest Scared Stupid and Ernest Goes to Camp and Ernest Goes to Jail are going for right now. And there's a few that have never even been released on Blu-ray after that. Because those are the only 3 that ever have.
Yep. It's insane that they don't. I mean, you would think Ernest Saved Christmas as well too. I want that. You would think Ernest Saves Christmas and Ernest Scared Stupid.
I can't believe Disney hasn't released that on Blu-ray yet.
Right? Yeah.
I can't even believe they didn't even do in the Disney Movie Club.
Exactly. Them two.
It's the fucking Christmas movie. Like it's probably the biggest selling one of all of them.
Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. I mean, it's not an Ernest movie, but I would absolutely love the movie. The Chase with Charlie Sheen and Christy Swanson.
Yeah, did that get that hasn't got a Blu-ray yet either?
Never got a Blu-ray. Rick, if you're listening, look for that. Maybe.
I don't know if it has either. You got a point there, but that's a Fox title. I did used to have the VHS. That I know. Yes. But yeah,
I still have the VHS, and I believe the VHS. I think he got a DVD. But that movie is. I love that movie. I would love to have that on a Blu-ray. Disney, once again, that's much like
that
Airheads.
One was a rental darling. Yeah, I was gonna say, because that was one of those movies, and that's another one like Charlie Sheen's got a couple of these. The Navy SEALs one. That's why I know.
Yeah,
that one sold pretty well, I think, for Vinegar Syndrome, because guys love those movies. And The Chase was one that kind of went under the radar, but then when everybody finally discovered it, everybody loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a consistent renter back in the day.
Yeah. And speaking of to go along with the music theme a little bit, it's got the Red Hot Chili Peppers in it, and it's very much an MTV movie. The whole production. So it's a fun movie. But yeah, and if you guys have never ever seen Airheads, do yourself a favor. Watch Airheads.
You can find it at is, but yeah.
Yes, and it does have an incredible metal soundtrack to it. It does have Motorhead. It's got I'm trying to remember.
You got Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi, fucking great supporting cast.
It's got them singing the
David
song.
Arquette.
David Arquette.
Chris Farley. Harold Ramis is in it.
Yep. Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson's in it.
Oh, Ponytail, the boss.
And Ernie Hudson. Yeah, you said Ernie Hudson.
Oh, yeah, Ernie Hudson is it. And what is his name? Michael McKean plays the asshole boss that runs the station.
Yeah, great. Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kramer from Seinfeld is getting the ducks.
Yeah. That's one of the best parts. I totally spaced that bit out. Yeah. It's great. It's great. Yeah, you should check it out if you like any kind of it's unlike any other film, so it is kind of hard to pair up with anything. Maybe FM or because it's about a radio station, but it's also got the whole, maybe Bill and Ted, I guess.
Okay. And that's why I was also thinking Empire Records a little bit as well, because it's
maybe
not
a
radio
bit. Yeah, it's not a radio station, but yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's I'm in a 90s mood for 90s movies like that. For whatever reason, it just that's what I'm in, and it was fun. It's fun. Yeah, and that guy, the SWAT team guy, is like, so I came home once and took off I had the tiniest little skid marks in my underwear, and my wife goes, I catch her with a the pool guy. What's in the van?
Yeah.
Nothing but pool equipment. Get me the guy. And
dry as a bone.
Give me a Kramer. Yeah. And it gives him a gun and everything. Oh, it's so good.
He's like Die Hard. Yeah, he's like Die Hard in this thing.
Yeah, still on DVD at the moment. Yeah. But anyways, check out Airheads if you have not seen it. Yes.
Yeah. And it does kind of have a weird connection to WKRP, which kind of brings you back to FM as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't remember if this had anything to do with FM. I'm trying to remember, but in WKRP, the whole thing is when they switch over from the classic to the rock. Well, in this movie, they find out they're switching over from the rock to the easy listening shit.
Sweet sounds of the rain.
What the hell is this?
You're firing me? And that's the good Kramer too. He's like, he doesn't want to come in. He's like, I'm going to need you here Saturday when we switch over. He's like, I don't want to say they're hemorrhoids, but I got something wrong with me up there, so I'm going to my proctologist. He doesn't want to come in. He's like, I guess maybe I could come in for a little bit. It was funny is I was going to buy that T-shirt. I actually think I might make that T-shirt myself because I seen it up and it doesn't seem to be getting copyrighted. So I'm gonna get the KPPX Rebel Radio logo, and I might put that up. I might put that up on my own because I was going to buy it because after I watched the movie, I was like, I wonder if they sell that T-shirt, and I looked it up, and I seen people making them, and like these like we use here in the YouTubes, like TeePublic and all those other places. So I may make my own. I got the design, I just got to put it up. So yeah, I have my own KPPX Rebel Radio T-shirt. I won't cut the sleeves off. I mean, I'm working on the muscles, but I don't think I've got the definition to cut the sleeves off yet. So, but Tom, let's get to you and see what.
Oh wow! Okay, where do I go from there? Well,
who knows?
It's gonna have to be one of the other ones that we don't share, I guess.
Yeah, because all I got left is the ones we shared.
This one had one hell of a soundtrack, I guess we could say. And it has been some fucking years since I've seen this movie. And on my little Jean-Claude Van Damme kick, pun intended, last week, I realized I didn't even have this title on regular Blu-ray. Not only that, I forgot. I know we probably reported that it came out on 4K, but it totally came in under the radar from Lionsgate. That is Kickboxer in a lenticular cover where he kicks the title and breaks it.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then on the inside, you've got.
Oh, that's actually a pretty cool steelbook.
Yeah, it's not too bad. That. Now you got the international cut on regular Blu-ray and like standard def, and then the 4K and Blu-rays. And which is sad because the international cut is like 10-15 minutes longer. I wish they had that on 4K as well because it actually has, I guess, more difference? Some longer scenes, more nudity, more violence.
Oh well, yeah, definitely.
All the good shit,
all the good stuff. They cut it all out.
Yeah. So and I guess that was the video version for a lot of folks too. So yeah, so some folks may be like, wait, where'd that go? So
yeah, but
it's been a long time since I've seen it, so I don't really remember what would have been changed. But yeah, it's basically Bloodsport, just not as good. It's all right. And Jean-Claude co-wrote it, and it was one of the movies though that put him on a map. It's the one I've seen it many more times than Bloodsport, I realize, because I always remember his brother in the wheelchair.
Yeah,
that's the thing that sticks out to me, and it has some of the worst of his acting in it. Van Damme, not the guy in the wheelchair, but the guy in the wheelchair is not that great either. But like, but the music,
like one of his first movies. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
off. It was, yeah, it was post. I believe he did Bloodsport first, and then this was just like he was like, I can write a movie like that, you know, and he did.
Yeah.
So I think it was like his second or third movie after Bloodsport, just before like Universal Soldier and jumping into, you know, the canon years and whatnot.
That's what makes
not canon years, but TriStar years.
Yeah, the TriStar years. It's like the bad acting, the nudity, the violence, the bad acting. That's just what makes them so fun.
But yeah, it's basically a pretty simple tale. It's about a kickboxer who's goes to I think it's Thailand, gets ass kicked out of him, gets paralyzed, and his brother, who's one of his trainers, vows vengeance. And you can tell Quentin Tarantino liked this movie, or at least it pulls from a lot of other films or something maybe I've missed, because they literally have like the scene where the dude drops him off at kind of like with Uma Thurman. And it's like, yeah, here you go. See you later. Go get taught, you know, by your Mr. Miyagi, basically. And although he's a lot nicer than Pai Mei is, but no, it's a fun film. It feels like a living cartoon in some spots. It's so fucking cheesy, but you love how cheesy it is. And the music is so fucking 80s, like almost obnoxiously 80s.
It's awesome. It's good. It's got what's his name does some of the, like, who did the Transformers song. He does
yes. He does Stan Bush. He does almost most of the songs, and it's like 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, it is just, and it is chock full of that shit. Like, this is a guy's film. Like, I think this is one of the movies that Trump has on Air Force One, isn't it?
I can see why.
It's a great movie. Kickboxers about how to deal with foreign nations.
He kicks.
You go over and you kick the crap out of him.
He's not fat. He doesn't eat the crappy food.
Our country right now is like Van Damme's brother, crippled and in its wheelchair. Not doing too good. Not looking so great. Not
Not so
great.
hot right now. That's why he's down. He's down. He's down.
He's down.
Or not
He's
out.
But he's got a brother, Van Damme. That's me. I'm coming in. I'm gonna get revenge.
Very smart.
I'm gonna get
very
vengeance. Very handsome. Much younger, thinner. Great ass. World class ass. Do the splits.
Get some of that fine Thailand pussy.
Grab it by the pussy. You can catch it.
It's just I was thinking about that scene. The remake is actually not a sequel; it's a remake. But Van Damme is in it. He plays the trainer. He plays
Wait, what?
Yes.
Why wasn't I told about this? I know there's like 7 fucking straight to video sequels.
Yeah, sequels. Yes. I have the remake.
Really?
I have to give it a rewatch. I didn't like it.
I didn't even know they remade it technically.
The guy that stars in it was actually Chris Evans, and he did a lot of stunts in the Marvels movies. He was their body doubles, but he's the star of the movie.
Gotcha.
Van Damme plays the guy that teaches him, how to kickbox. Batista plays Tong Po, and Jenna. What's her name? Not Jenna. Yes, what's her name? Gina Carano is in it as well. It's not great, but I may have to give it a rewatch. It's been a while, so I may have to give it a rewatch. They made a sequel to that one as well, which I've never seen the sequel to Kickbox. It's called Kickbox or something. The guy that played the Mountain is in that one, and Mike Tyson's in the sequel as well. So yeah, no, but it sticks pretty close to the story of the first one, except I don't know if I should spoil it, because like with the brother, they change what happens to the brother.
Well, he gets killed this time.
Yeah,
probably?
They straight up kill him this time.
I figured. It's like, I'm surprised they didn't the first time.
Yeah, so that's really like the biggest difference, and they take it a little more seriously. But the fights are incredible in the movie because they're all real martial artists. But the acting might be a little worse than Kickboxer, the original. So.
Well, at least the original is almost like charmingly bad.
Yeah, this is a little more like these guys are great fighters and stunt doubles, but they ain't actors. So yeah, except for Batista, he's all right, and Gina Carano's good in it, but she's not in it very long. Yeah, but anyways, no, Kickboxer original is great. Is a good movie. So it's just one of those classic staples. I don't know if you ever saw what's it called? Is it The Last Kumite? Have you ever seen The Last Kumite?
No, but I heard about it.
It's a new movie. It's supposed to be like a throwback to a movie like that. The only thing about that is there is no Van Damme cameo, and they really needed a Van Damme cameo because it is basically an homage to Kickboxer and Bloodsport. That's what it is. But there's just no Van Damme cameo. And Stan Bush, they even hired Stan Bush to do music for the movie.
Is that Gina Carano in this?
That's Gina Carano. Yeah, Gina Carano is in the movie.
Yeah, because Hank Ronson just sent me the trailer.
Yeah, she's not in it very long, but she is in the movie.
I might have to give this a spin just to see it.
Yeah, I'd be interested. Maybe I'll watch my copy too if you get it before next show. So, and we'll talk.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I'll let you know though.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not a great movie. It's not a great movie.
Yeah, it looks pretty cheap here, but I see the idea of him playing the trainer in this one.
Yeah. But no, they're like you said, the original is great. I didn't even personally, it slipped past me too because I thought the 4K was a German, but I think I was thinking about the Bloodsport 4K was German release, I believe.
Yeah, that one I have the import of. Yeah, that I don't think still has gotten a US 4K yet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all I got
left is the two that we share. Or no, I got one other besides that. Should I do this one real quick?
Yeah, because all I got left is the two we share.
Because it kind of ties in with the other one. A lot of people have gotten their fistful of dollars this week, but instead I got Yojimbo, the movie that inspired it and later sued them for it. And also it comes with the sequel, Sanjiro. And of course, so if you're not familiar with this is basically the same story as A Fistful of Dollars. The first one is. And the second one's similar-ish, but not exactly the same. But I don't think that was the basis for the next film. I think that was just They just brought the character back and all that kind of business.
Mhm.
The first film's really, really, really good. I can see why they leaned into it, because this is basically Kurosawa being inspired by American Westerns. Italian Westerns get inspired by Kurosawa. Change American Westerns. Did you follow that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's literally like, this cyclical thing that happened with this. Because, yeah, this movie feels like a Western, and you can tell why it became one of the more popular Westerns ever. Same thing with, like, Seven Samurai and some of the other stuff, because Kurosawa just had that sensibility about him. And Sanjuro is just this really great character, or the samurai with no name, whatever you want to call him, because Sanjuro isn't really even his name. It just means 30 years old. And I think Tamiyaka is what he chose for his first name, and I can't remember what that means, but like it's like field of something. I can't remember. Anyway, so I mean, basically you get the idea. He rolls into this town that's been kind of taken over by these rival gangs, and he pits the two of them against each other in the exact same way that Clint Eastwood does it. Fistful of Dollars. And like I said, it's kind of similar in the sequel, but the sequel is more about he helps one specific clan that's only of like 10 guys against a whole army who have kidnapped their commissioner or whatever it is for the town, like their mayor or whatever, the leader of their clan, basically. And so it's him kind of helping them and he does do some of the same thing. So it is very similar plot wise. Like he does try to get in, he does infiltrate the bad guys and make them think that he's on their side and stuff, but he doesn't play the two against each other like he did in the first one. He's openly helping the other guys as far as to them. They know what he's up to, if that helps. Because like from the very start, they're like, we're only few. There's only 9 of us. And he's like 10, because he keeps counting himself, because he's helping them, but he kind of just takes over the crew because he's like, y'all are a bunch of children, basically. So no, and they're fun. They're good. The Blu-rays look great. These are from BFI. These are not the Criterion release. In fact, I got it for almost half the price of the Criterion release.
Nice.
I don't know as far as what difference there are in extras, but I'm assuming the films would be either the same scan and or Criterion might have even mucked with them some more, but they didn't really need to because they already look like they were mucked with enough. The first one looks pretty good. It clearly had some grain management done to it, but it is not distractingly bad or anything like that. I didn't notice any ghost grain. The second film, though, is weird because it feels like the first reel or two might not be from the negative, even though it claims that it is, because they have softened the picture a lot and pulled out almost all the grain. It's almost like the two movies were done by two complete different teams, and it may have been. I'd have to look in the credits, because whoever worked on the second one clearly did a lot more grain management, if that makes sense. Because like in some of the scenes that are clearly like dupe material and stuff like that, they have not quite gone to the Terminator realm, but they have softened it off quite a bit to where you got some weird edges and shit on some of the faces and stuff. And it just kind of, you can tell something's up. It's not as bad as some other releases, but it's something's weird. And then about halfway through the movie, or after the first reel or so, then it cleans up and doesn't seem that way as often. That it feels more like the first film does. But no, overall though, good package. That actually has the original surround sound track on them as well. The sequel actually has more special features, believe it or not. But so, which is funny because the sequel doesn't seem to get a lot of love, from my understanding of what I saw on here. So there you go. Alex Cox, the director, actually talks a lot about it. So yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know much about the sequel myself. So
yeah, he just shows up. He's the same character and everything. It doesn't really
explain it.
No, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with the man with no name. He just shows up.
Yeah, right.
Dressed the same, looks the same. You can tell it's the same guy, but
yeah. Oh, well, alrighty then. Okay.
But our last movies of the night, we both watched the same things.
Yes, we did. And I would have watched more. But things happened. I guess I'll go ahead and show mine first, and then you can show yours. But we did watch Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X, the new era 4K. This artwork is a little better than this artwork, but they're both.
Well, they're trying to match the other artwork that was crap from the old Friday the 13th one.
Yeah. Do you want to show yours or?
Yeah, I got the same thing, but I also have with me not just them, which we didn't even show the inside, of course.
Oh yeah, I didn't even show the insides because it got posters and everything.
The original reversible art.
Yeah, I did that as well.
I also have the old box set Blu-ray and the old DVD.
Oh, DVD. I still have that DVD,
which is funny because this is one of the first movies I ever downloaded online because this movie leaked online over a year before it came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this movie like a year before it came out in a slightly different version. And of course, I also have the Blu-ray and the DVD and the 4K of Jason Goes to Hell.
Yes, and I did that as well. I switched the things.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this art. No offense to the artist. It's just not my...
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea either. And yes, these are Arrow Collector Shark.
And they're so close to the original art, it's just like, what's the point? In certain respects. Because they're clearly emulating the Jason X art to begin with. So, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I do think that looks a little better than that, but I did, yeah.
And it's a tale of two Jason. You want to know why that is? Because the Jason X art is basically almost the same fucking art as the original fucking poster.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. And with this, you get the theatrical cut on 4K and the director's cut, or the whatever you want to call it, director's cut.
And evidently, I guess the few shots for the director's cut are from an interpositive, but I couldn't tell.
No, I mean, we'll get right to the point here. Jason Go to Hell is definitely worth the 4K upgrade. If you want the 4K upgrade, it looks beautiful, beautiful on 4K. You can tell a little bit of a difference in this with this, and like Tom mentioned, like with the director cuts with the scenes added in, you can't even really tell where it switches from the interpositive to the negative.
The negative. It looks so good.
It looks great.
No over management of the grain, really. I mean, there's a little bit, but it's not like overly done. There's a nice grain presence. In fact, I was surprised they didn't clean it up more. I don't know if you noticed that there's a lot of nicks and pops here and there that normally would get cleaned up. Then I'm like, oh god, this almost feels like a vinegar syndrome release. If you'd have just pulled back a little bit more on the grain management, hey. But this was signed off on by Adam Marcus. So they did an amazing job on this restoration on both ends. I mean, I didn't really watch the theatrical cut. I just skimmed through it real quick just to kind of take a look. It's the same thing. The only difference is they just cut in the other scenes from the... It's literally like not even 3 minutes of scenes, basically. It's just extensions of a couple scenes and
here and there,
a couple of shots mainly, and that's about it. But it does, if you're used to that version, which I was on video growing up, you know, when they're gone, you do notice this couple scenes when they're gone.
You do.
Now, the sad part is we didn't get the reconstructed actual Adam Marcus director's cut he wanted to make, that I think he talked about with you, and he did talk about with me, I know for sure. And it would have been nice because, like I told him, like the best part about it is all that stuff he mentioned he wanted to do that they couldn't do at the time, you can do now for nothing.
Yeah,
it's all shit you can do on your home computer
right away,
right now. Like, yeah, so like he has another vision for this movie that we never got to see. And look, I know this is the most unpopular Friday the 13th movie. Greg and I are fully aware of this.
I just want to say, but I love this movie. So.
I have a special spot for this movie. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it tried so hard to be something different and swung for the fences. Sure, it wasn't a home run. In some people's eyes, it was a foul and caught out. To me, I would say it's at least a double or a triple. May not be a home run, but Adam did a good job trying to reinvent the wheel here.
Yes.
You have a movie franchise that's on its 9th film. You've literally done everything you can but go to space at this point.
Which we'll get to that.
He's been to New York, Toronto.
He's been on a boat.
He's been on a boat. You know, we've been to the forest 20 times. Yeah, he's fought Carrie already. We almost got Cheech and Chong in one. This was something to try for. You can agree or disagree with some of the additions to the lineage and the familial lineage, but I also love that you have the guy who's in the TV series playing the role he is in this. Was it? Oh God, what's his name?
The
Steven is his name in the movie, but the real actor,
oh yeah,
John LeMay,
yeah.
who also was in the series as a completely different character. So I liked that connection, even though I think it was funny is I think when Adam hired him, I don't even think he was aware that he was on the series.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
So it was like, oh, okay. And then you got Creighton Duke.
The
Oh my
dude is great.
God. Where has this character been our whole lives?
Right?
Tell me what you think about when you think of Jason Voorhees. Think about a little girl in a pink dress with a donut. Oh,
sticking a hot dog through a donut. He's a great character. And the things like Tyrell, I get it. Like we said, I know I get it. But after speaking with Marcus and for whatever reason myself, I've always enjoyed this movie.
It. I knew what it was going into it. Because I don't know if you have it or not, but I had I don't have it anymore. I want to get it again.
The Fangoria.
The Fangoria magazine, which basically has the entire fucking movie in the magazine. So I knew exactly what this was going to be getting into it.
Yeah.
And same thing with Freddy's Dead at the time too, which is funny because I know a lot of people are most disappointed by that. But those are my movies, right? Like, sure, those movies have been around, but those were the two that I got to see in the theater. Those were the ones that were out when I was a teenager. They were our Freddy and Jason movies, right? Because it was going to be another few years before we got another Jason movie, and New Nightmare hadn't come out yet. Right. So we were in that that dead spot between New Nightmare and Freddy's Dead. This was the only one we were getting, right? Like there hadn't been a Leatherface movie in a couple of years, or when does the Texas Chainsaw 3 come out? That's maybe a year or two off from this, or the same year. I can't remember which.
I want to say 93.
Yeah, so it was the same year, but it tanked, I think. So like, and that thing was a production disaster, as opposed to this, which the production went off without a hitch. But poor Adam, I mean, his career paid the price for this.
1990.
Yeah, and he was and so yeah, I knew it had been a couple of years, I thought, since they had done one. Yeah. But so his career kind of paid the price for this, and he was kind of a guy who was on the up and coming because, if you listen to our interviews, I don't know if he talked about it much with you, but he did with us about, My Boyfriend's Back and all that shit that he went through with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and he was kind of like one of the guys that was kind of on that list of the up and coming, these are the guys to watch for as far as writers / directors. And then this movie just completely derailed his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he was given the biggest budget of any Friday the 13th movie at that time. I mean, he was friends with the family. He was kind of given full, control over it. He had one stipulation and one stipulation only. And that stipulation, in my opinion, is what really hurt the movie. Yes. Although I feel like it's one of the movie's strengths at the same time, but that is subjective. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was up against Sean Cunningham, who, if you've ever listened to Adam, Sean Cunningham demanded him to do that, to remove the mask and the machete.
Like, whatever you do to get that fucking mask out, I don't care.
Yeah. And, he was, that's just what he was. And he had a thing. I mean, we've talked to him about, spoiler alert here, we tried to get him on tonight, but he couldn't make it tonight. So that was the thing. And yeah, I understand.
He did like my post on X though, by the way.
Yeah,
so
yeah, he did.
It's not like I think he's avoiding us, or I think he legitimately had.
Yeah, he had to teach a theater class. He teaches like a theater acting class and stuff that he does every Wednesdays. So we didn't get him to get here, but yes, he had an immense amount of pressure on him. I've always look. Is it the best of the Friday the 13th movies? No. Does it have its caveats? Yes. But as far as the movie goes, there's just something special about it that I've always enjoyed. I've always enjoyed seeing the Evil Dead Necronomicon. Of course, who did not freak out when Freddy's glove came out of the ground? So as being like a monster kid myself of like the Universal Monster movies, I even told this to Adam, and Adam told me himself that he was sort of going for that himself. That's why he sprinkled this stuff into the movie, is like he was trying to connect the universes of Freddy and Texas Chainsaw with this Jason movie. So he like all of the
Evil
monsters.
Dead, and you even got the Creep Show fucking Creighton there.
Yes.
Shit, there's all kinds of stuff and I mean, the Freddy versus Jason thing was on the horizon. That was the whole reason for this purchase, right? So that was kind of the Marvel moment.
Yes.
The problem was, and that'll kind of lead us into the next movie as we finish this up here. The problem with that is that it just, nobody could get Freddy versus Jason right, and they went through God knows how many different scripts. But I mean, I wish there's other things that are missing here. I'm kind of upset about that they didn't even get to on the show. I mean, yes, we got the TV scenes here, But there's still a couple more scenes that are missing, and they could have just give us the unfiltered versions of these. There's been a work print of this movie that's been out there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And it has all those scenes plus the deleted death scenes that are not in that TV cut.
Yep.
Because the one chick who is babysitting the kid, her boyfriend, I think he's a cop too, he gets killed, and you don't even get to see his scene. He gets killed in the bathroom.
Yeah.
By the other cop. Or maybe it's just the cop that's there and it's her boyfriend. I can't remember which. But yeah, anyway, there's that whole scene that's completely gone and is not on any disc still, but it's out there on the other thing. And there's a few of those like that. And the ending is a little bit longer and some other bits like that. And that's, I think, part of what, you know, he wanted to do is get that version together. And I was hoping this would be the chance and the opportunity for him to do that, especially since they were doing what they're doing now for the Nightmare on Elm Street films, where we're going to get, you know, some of the unrated cuts of those. I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd let him do his definitive version of it, but yeah.
But he did get to prove the scan and everything, and it looks incredible.
It is a very watchable movie. I mean, guess you could say what you want about it, but if you step it to kind of take it away from some of the other Jason films, I guess, I don't know how else to put it, it is a very watchable, enjoyable film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got a good story, and it keeps you engaged, and you give a shit about the characters, and they're very, compared to a lot of the other Friday the 13th films, they're all very likable, understandable, and complex characters.
Yeah. Yeah. There's honestly, there's just something about it. Yes, you can say they killed Jason in the beginning and it's just a bunch of people.
But he's still there, technically.
He's still there.
But I like the setup kind of with like, and it makes sense. Like, of course he's going to get Jason fucking basically framed this guy for murdering his mother-in-law. Like,
yeah. It is. It's, I mean, and like when you see Jason in the mirror when he's possessing somebody, that was Adam's ideal, to keep Jason and the hockey mask and everything in the movie. He was literally trying to keep it in the movie as much as he could.
Like, do I agree with this whole body jumping thing necessarily? No. But once you add kind of the Evil Dead elements to it, and the idea of what I'm sure, and Adam said the same thing to you, you know, the idea that this guy's been blown up, cut to pieces, shot to hell. Everything's been done to this guy over and over and over again, right? Mm-hmm. To the point where I almost love, I'm not a big fan of redesigns usually,
mm-hmm.
but this redesign of Jason is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's
because
cool.
I love what they did with this. Even though what's funny is they did sculpt and do a face that we never get to see.
There's so much that was cut out of it too. So
I know, and you can actually see it in some, because they made sure that if there was a shot that you were going to see underneath, kind of in the mask, that they did enough of it. So they had like 3 different versions of the face. One that was just like a stunt face where it would just covered. Here, I'll turn my camera on so you can see. One for Kane that was just a stunt face where it just covered from here. Then he put the mask over. And then they had one that had like from down through here, so it had the one eye covered up like it's supposed to, with the fake shit, plus you could see some of the bony shit in case it caught it from the sides. And then they had the third final version, which was the whole full-on skull, crappy face. But we never got to see that, so Lord knows what I'd love to find, and it might show up, I'm sure, in his upcoming documentary he's got coming up of Jason Goes to Hell. Hearts of Darkness, yeah. So I'm sure we'll see it eventually, but so like they went through a lot, and I love how they make him look, because he almost looks like he's a disease now. You know what I mean? He's been in this body for so long, and he's just corroded the fuck out of it. I love how the mask looks like it is just fused like to his face. Like his body, like the scar tissue is just grown out around it, or whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know. Like, there's just something about this grotesque design of it. And it is very similar to my other favorite design, which is the 7 design. Which again goes through the painstaking, and they're both the 2 most similar designs in a sense that they're full body costumes, and that this is not as extensive as the 7 one, but it is hearkening back to it in that if you notice, like in the rips in the shirt, like you can see underneath the body, like he has the bone sticking out of the spine and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, he did in part 7. It's just not as prominent, because like in part 7 he's like practically wearing shreds at that point for clothing. But like, yeah, so look, I think we can go waxing on all day about this movie. We should probably move on to the next one, but to just get this here on screen, did they call it Jason Goes to Hell versus Friday the 13th? Yes, because all New Line did was buy the rights to Jason Voorhees. Yep. That's it.
That is it. And also, Steven, I clipped a part of my interview where Adam talks about this. he's not a Deadite because there's more in the Evil Dead, the Necronomicon, than a Deadite.
He's kind of probably more akin to what my understanding, because he kind of said the same thing to me.
Yeah.
We didn't get to this far, but I guess if I had to like put a name to it, he's more like what happens when you bury something in Pet Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you use the Necronomicon to try to bring somebody back to life, that's what happened. In his little canon, at some point, that's what brought him back. He did die in what it was what Adam's saying is there isn't this, oh, he was alive and then he came back. No. In his version, what he's saying is Mrs. Voorhees was fucking with the Necronomicon trying to raise Jason from the dead.
Yes.
And it did work.
It did. Yes. And I did clip it. If you can find it, it's on my channel. It's actually a very popular video on my channel where I clipped that segment of the interview where he talks about what he believes Jason is and how the Book of the Dead was used and how there's more than just Deadites in the Book of the Dead, which there is, because it's very H.P. Lovecraft. There's so much more that everybody always assumes Deadite, but there's so much more than the Deadite. There's Deadites, there's demons, there's wraiths, there's like the Tom was talking about where you bring them back. So there's so much that you can conjure through the Book of the Dead and Necronomicon from Evil Dead and stuff but everybody just assumes it's Deadite. So check it out.
But I don't have a problem with either one. Like I'm fine with like because it makes sense in the other form too, because like he is almost still human until about part 3 or 4, right? I mean,
yeah.
And then at that point, when he finally does die, you know, the whole bringing him back from the dead the way that they do in part 6 is great. So I mean, you can follow it however you want. If not, you can just say that he's always been that way, and that just jump started him again or something like that. Either way, it works.
Yeah.
So
now. With that being said, once again, I understand if you guys don't like
how we feel about Jason Goes to Hell is how everybody else feels about this next one that you and I don't necessarily care for all that much.
It is a shit movie, but it's a fun watch, but it's a shit movie. It's not good.
So you're saying it's a fun shit. It's when you have a nice quick shit. Yeah.
The fun shit.
The weird thing is okay, compared to a Friday the 13th film, Jason Goes to Hell is more of a Friday the 13th film. This is basically the Naked Gun version of fucking Friday the 13th. Like if Mel Brooks said, we're going to make a Friday the 13th movie in space. Spaceballs meets Jason. Yeah.
I would say, like, after watching Jason Goes to Hell, which I believe is actually a really good, a decent movie. It's like Tom said, it's got good stories, good characters. You get to Jason X, and it has a good opening scene with David Cronenberg is actually in it.
If it wasn't tongue in cheek as it is, then it would be horrible.
Yeah, it's a good
thing
that
it's well aware of itself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Now, both of these movies have great new special features that aren't on the Shout, so those are worth it. But you can't. If you don't want this on 4K, that's okay, because this does not look. The 4K of this one is not.
Yeah. And look, I don't know if anybody from Arrow's watching or actually watches this on replay or anything like that.
Yeah, if you.
And I know this is not anybody from Arrow's fault, but it says in the pamphlet that this is from the original camera negative provided by Warner Brothers. You guys should know Warner Brothers lied to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what this is basically the old version of a 2K interpositive. And I know that's difficult to explain. But in the making of, that's even on the old making of, it explains exactly what I'm talking about. So what they did for this movie, this was one of the first movies where instead of just taking the shots that had CGI in them and scanning them digitally, in fact, I think I have it right here. We can just show it.
Good night, Rick. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Yeah, have a good night, Rick. Thanks again for everything, buddy.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. Yeah. All right.
So this is how they did Jason X. So instead of just scanning the special effects scenes, they scan the entire film. So
that would be affected would be digitized.
See, they're showing how you normally would do it,
maybe
right?
50 shots or maybe 100 shots. On this movie, what we're doing is we're actually digitizing the whole movie.
So this was one of the first films to be done completely digitally from beginning to end, and they spat out a brand new master at the end of that. And then that's what they show in this part here.
An ARRI laser recorder
So they
This
put it
is
out
why
on
I
an
think-
Arri laser recorder. And this is what I think they did. They scanned this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, and the reason why it looks the way it does, is that it didn't put it out at very high resolution. Yes, it was high resolution for that time, but we have gone way beyond that now, kids. And it was limited in the resolution it was putting out. So was it technically better quality than, say, getting a flat out print that might be damaged in some way chemically? Yes. But what you're getting is a lower resolution copy of the film, because you've just downgraded it to 1080p from beginning to end. So even that film master, and that's what it should say in here, it comes from a scan of the original master, not the negative, because this is not the camera negatives. And I was talking about with you this before the show, and I think what happened is they probably sat down and they said, look, most of this movie, we could rescan these other scenes that aren't CGI elements, but it's probably literally 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at that point, they're like, it's not even fucking worth it, probably. And they just decided to do this, which I wouldn't have a problem with if they were more open about it in their pamphlet, and they weren't charging as much as they're charging for Jason Goes to Hell, which has 2 versions of the film on it and 2 discs. That's my problem. Now, I think the price has gone down a little bit, you said, Greg, but it needs to go down farther than that.
Yeah. I have a feeling Jason X price will probably drop a lot, much like the Friday 13th remake, which is down to like, I think $17 for most of the point. The 4K of that. I think the Jason X will probably drop down to 17 eventually. It's up to you guys if you really want it. I would say the Shout Factory, which isn't even a new scan on the Shout Factory one. It's just the original. They bought Blu-rays from Warner Brothers and just put them in the box set. There's nothing new to them. And I know people like Jason X, and that's fine. And I'm not trying to say, I like watching it too. I think it is a fun movie to watch. It's got some great nudity in it. It's got some good kills in it, but it is a shit movie. I just think it is. Uber Jason is awesome.
I wouldn't have upgraded.
Yeah,
I would. If I'd have known this going into it, I wouldn't have.
Yeah. So I would almost say that Jason X is a movie that deserves to be seen in lower resolution.
Well, it's not even. It's just it's just the way it exists, and it feels like, and just so people don't misunderstand me, because I know some reviewers are going to say, but it is a 4K scan. It's a native 4K scan. Yes, it's a native 4K scan of a digital print, not the actual camera negative. And you cannot fucking tell me it is, because I know what it. Put it right up against Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah, you can see that. I watched them back to back, and
tell the difference.
You could see the difference.
You can barely see a discernible difference between the old Blu-ray and this 4K, simply because it does not have any more resolution you can pull out of it. They didn't even. In fact, if this was the case, this is one of those few times I would have said, you know what? You want to slap a little bit of AI upconvert on it? Fine. Because it's not going to change anything. It can't really hurt it. Because you're not going to go through the fucking work. And this is the same problem we had with Kill Bill. And this is the same problem we have with almost every movie that comes out after this era up until recently, is that they're in 2K masters. So guess what? You could sit there and, yeah, it's going to give you darker darks and brighter brights and poppier colors in certain instances, maybe a little bit better resolution than what you got on the Blu-ray, but it's not going to be noticeable to most people, because guess what? You're still pulling from a fucking 2K master. And this was my issue with getting into 4K to begin with, and this is why I understand some people's problems with it. But it wasn't until I saw some classic films from the negatives on 4K that I said, wait a minute, I have looked at this the wrong way. As long as I avoid these titles, or I know what I'm getting into when I get these titles, that's a difference. Because there's only been like maybe not even a handful of 2K DI films that I've seen on 4K that I say that there was an improvement. And the only one I can think of off the top of my head is fucking not Seed of Chucky, but the Curse of Chucky. And I think Friday the 13th does look a little bit better from the old Blu-ray, but that's because they crammed 2 versions of the movie on a fucking single Blu-ray back in the day. And I believe the unrated cut got really compressed, if I remember right. So I did notice a bit of an uptick there on that, but that's just because it's a full uncompressed getting to breathe file, right? So that sometimes you'll notice a bit of a difference there, but is it a big upgrade? I don't know. Like Last House on the Left, I wish I'd have never bought it. I can't tell a difference. It looks the same on both versions because they're 2K, and same thing with Inglourious Bastards, although I did get the Arrow one, so I'm going to compare that with them, even though it's all supposed to be from the same master. But again, we still have this problem where I don't care. You can't pretend that you're not giving us an inferior product.
Right.
If you're not going to do the work, don't expect us to pay the extra money for it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with this. And it's not Arrow's fault in this case. This is Warner Brothers' fault. They're the ones who say that this is what it was. I'm sure Arrow just put in there and if Arrow's aware of it, though, they should have actually been honest about it.
Yeah.
I will hold them a little bit more accountable. But I mean, I guess you could sit there and argue that yes, it does come from the quote unquote negative, because it probably did spit out a brand new negative they made, but it's still a scan of film from back in 2000 and whatever it was, 2000, 1999, 2000,
when it's just
whatever
2000,
it was.
just the year
I think
2000?
so, yeah, because like I said, this is the first movie to do this as far as I know. And this is before they actually did they didn't even take the digital file, right? They actually, I believe they scanned the film they had. But the master they have, or the negative that they have in quotations, isn't the actual camera negative. That's my point. And so it's a semantic thing. I get it. But just keep this in mind, because other reviewers are going to say, yeah, but they're full of shit. Because it's coming from it even says here, it's native 4K. Yeah, I may say that, but unless you watch the making of and see how they made this film, it explains it right in there. There is no other version, right? They say they never touched the negative. They say in the making of, they scanned the entire thing, everything they shot, and they work completely in that workstation, which means it has a complete 2K workflow. Because at that time, 1080p is the best they could do.
Yeah.
And it's the same way they did the Star Wars films, the prequels.
Yep. It is. But exactly. And
but these actually look a little bit better because it was actually shot on film, unlike episode 2 and 3.
Yes. No, and once again, I'm not knocking anybody about like Jason X.
Yeah, it's not about the quality of the movie itself; it's the quality of the transfer.
It's the quality of the transfer. The movie itself, as everybody said, it's become one of the movies where it is just a fun movie to watch.
I'll agree, it's the best of the Ghost to Space movies, unless you want to count Hellraiser, just because that technically really doesn't even count as a Ghost to Space movie. It does, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
They were probably the best too. And just so you guys know, for anybody who might be going to Crystal Lake Nightmares, Robert and Clark here from the podcast will be there with Melanie Kinnaman helping her out. Would love to meet anybody there. So there you go.
What is that?
Crystal Lake Nightmares. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's a thing coming up somewhere. And they're going to be with Melanie Kinnaman from, I think she's from part 5, if I remember. But yeah, I don't know where it's at. Where was that at, Clark?
Or is that just the name of your podcast?
His name is Podcastle. So, there it is. Friday the 13th convention in August in Burbank.
Oh, that's what I thought. It was like a convention.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know it's a convention. I just didn't know where it was. So if anybody's out there, California,
man,
it would be nice, wouldn't it?
Might as well be in Jersey.
Yeah. But no, I would say I definitely think if you are a fan and if you do want it, if you're a collector and stuff, Jason Goes to Hell is definitely worth it. Now these are only 4Ks. They do not have the Blu-rays. They're just the 4Ks. So if you don't have a 4K player, don't worry about it. You don't need them. You stick with your Blu-ray. So, but if you want the 4K, Jason Goes to Hell is definitely worth it. Jason X, not so much unless you want to complete the collection. If you're a completist, or if you want the box art and all that, or the new special features, because they have different special features on these that are not on any of the other releases. So they have new special features. It just all depends on this. These are probably the lesser of the Friday the 13th movies that they know probably won't sell as much as some. I think Jason Goes to Hell.
They're also the Warner titles too.
So yeah, the Warner titles. But there you guys have it. I did watch them. I personally watched them back to back in the same night. And I immediately knew after I watched Jason Goes to Hell and I put in Jason X, I immediately knew it did not look as good as that. And it did not look as good as even the blue. I mean,
you knew what you were going to see the moment you went into the physical media chat.
yeah. I knew it as soon as I saw it. I was like, yeah, this is no. But I like Tom, and I do have fun watching Jason X. I do have fun. Like we've mentioned before, this is the type of movie where you get together with a bunch of friends and you kind of like the Mystery
And
Science
it's a
Theater
good entrance movie
bit.
because you haven't had to have seen all the other films,
yeah,
and stuff like that. So
I do like Uber Jason, but much like Jason Goes to Hell, we don't get to see Uber Jason until near the end, and then he's gone real quick. So, but I personally, that whatever it is, there's something about Jason Goes to Hell that I connected with when I first saw it. No, I still love the first 8 movies. Part 6 is my all-time favorite Friday the 13th movie, but there's just something about Jason Goes to Hell. Like you mentioned, the swinging for the fences. I don't know. I think I appreciate the swinging for the fences and taking a shot at something that's a bit different and trying to blend it with multiple.
It feels like it's taking it very
movies.
Seriously too.
Yes.
Right. Like that's the other thing that I enjoy. Enjoy about it. It feels like it's gotten like New Line went out for this. Like you guys got to understand. Like not only did they buy the rights to Jason, I mean they put a lot of money into this movie. It was a big campaign. You had a great I mean, we didn't even mention half the cast. I mean, you had what's her face Gray, Linda Gray, Aaron Gray, and fuck the guy from the Critters movies.
Oh yeah. I can't think of his name, but yeah, the dad from the Critters, and it had
I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden.
Come back.
And of course, you got Kane Hodder, and I mean.
It's got a great cast. It's got the little he's passed away now, but he's with the diner guys are the amazing.
Yeah, and he's in one of the deleted death scenes. Yeah, we don't get to see him all fried up, although they have the picture of him in the book here in the.
I can't remember his name. Leslie something is his name.
Leslie something, yeah.
He's funny, and him and his bitchy wife and his goofy son, they're great in the movie. And you know what? I was just wanted to say is like the opening of this movie is legit Friday the 13th. Because it's this young girl coming out to the Crystal Lake, going to the cabin, and as soon as she gets naked and puts her foot in the bathtub with the shower, Jason shows up.
Well, and actually, Adam fucks with us a few times before that, right?
Yeah, exactly, because you're waiting for it.
Yeah, because he does the mirror bit, and he's not there. And then he does like one or two other bits, and he's not there. She goes out to the woodshed, and he's not there. It's like, so every time you would expect him to be there, he's not there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he shows up. Yeah. So it works perfectly. And it's brilliant. And then the thing is when we get to this, the thing about this one is this, it reminds me of Freddy's Dead. And that's why I like these two films. And I know they're the least favorite of a lot of fans, but they expand the world, right? You get to peek into the world. And I love in Freddy's Dead how it's this Twin Peaks version of, Springwood. Yeah. You kind of have a similar thing here. It's not quite Twin Peaks, but it's almost Twin Peaks, right? Yeah, and it's more Mayberry, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, to where I love the relationship that everybody has. Mm-hmm. Like, I would almost love a fucking just series of this town. Who gives a shit if Jason shows up every week or not? Just like you said, like the diner characters, the Voorhees family, the cop characters, they're all like very well defined, and you have this really great camaraderie. And even though a lot of their stuff is cut out, like you still get enough of it to kind of know their relationships and know these people know each other. And I especially love Adam's brother's Kip. His brother Kip plays the friend of John LeMay's character. Their chemistry as buddies are great. Like, and they're we don't even get to see their whole scene together. It's extended. When you watch it, the extended scenes where, you wreck Jessica. You totally wreck Jessica. Like, I'm going to shoot you. Fuck you. I got a gun. I love that. That is every guy when they're younger, they get in a fight with their, you know what I mean? And it plays out so brilliantly because these two have grown up together. You can tell they're as close as brothers can be. And you don't need a bunch of shit to tell you that. The chemistry is there in their acting. And you believe it when, he meets, finally sees his ex after all this time, and he's like, this is the first time I got to see my baby, and that whole, like, all of it's got these great scenes and this great setup to it, and this whole idea of what it's about, and he has no idea of what he's gotten himself into, and he's a fuck up as it is, right? But he's a guy with good intentions, and you even get a great scene to kind of, here's where it works even better. And this is the thing is, you could say what you want about the film, it's still a very well written film, right? Because Adam does a lot in every scene. Like, sure, he sends off a bunch of teenagers into the woods to get killed. But guess what? that scene also shows us how good of a guy he is. That Steve isn't a jerk, because he is tested to the extreme.
That chick was hot too. She was smoking hot, and she's like,
his ex has already moved on to a new prick, right? Like literally in both senses.
Yeah.
And he could have had some smoking hot fucking teenage girl, but she's
they're
probably
like college kids,
age, but you know what I mean, right? Compared to him at that point. And he's like, I would love to, but I gotta go meet my fucking mother-in-law.
Yeah. But no, I would argue that next to Friday the 13th Part 6, because you're talking about the town, is like Part 6, and this is probably where we get to know the most of the town's people, because these people have been living with the legend of Jason Voorhees all their lives. He's like part of their town. He's ingrained in them. They grew up with him. Like, even like you're talking about when he's driving those college kids to the camp, he's like, oh yeah, you guys going to get out there, smoke a little dope, and have some premarital sex and get murdered. Yeah. It's like they know this. He's like, I'm just kidding. They tore down the camp. You don't have to worry about getting murdered anymore because Jason's dead. You know, like in Part 6 too, like with the sheriffs and where they tried to hide it, cover up the name and everything. We get to see the town. So like you get to know a little bit about this town in both of these movies. And I thought that was a great connection to Part 6 personally myself, because you get to know about these people that live in this town where Jason has tormented them and terrorized them for all these years. And what are these people like? How do they live? How do they get along? You know, so I liked that sense of the town, like you mentioned.
Well, you can tell how they react to it, right? Through all the shit in the diner, like when she's doing the Friday the 13th special, basically, or the Jason special, not the Friday the 13th special, with the Jason mask burgers and shit.
Yeah,
like, and you know, it's like everybody's kind of like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. But you know, it's just, you can tell, like you said, like it's become this town's dirty little secret. Because what are you going to do at this point? Nobody's going to believe you that this corpse has been walking around for a fucking decade.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
It is.
Yeah. At this point, everybody's like, you know, it's just whatever fucking murder that happens, they just blame on Jason. Don't go moving up there. So
yeah. Just don't do it. I mean, and I think the Crystal Lake TV show could have been something like that. Maybe we'll see how it plays out. We'll see. I don't know. I have my reservations about the show, but I may see it, may not. We'll see how that plays out. And this would be hilarious. Crystal Lake PD. Could you imagine like a cops like show of the cops at Crystal Lake? And it's the same criminal every week. It's Jason every week. And it's some kind of weird new murder. And it's like, well, we lost Deputy Brody today. Each week it's different cops because they all get killed. That would be
on
hilarious.
the other side of that. I mean, like I said, it'd be awesome just because, you know, it wouldn't even have to be Jason every week. It's just the weirdness of this town because of Jason. But
yeah,
you know, all kinds of weird shit could happen. It could almost be like a new Friday the 13th series. Yeah. It's just weird shit happens in general. But the other part of it was, and I know you probably talked about this too with him, but you know, I'd love to see a Creighton Duke expansion. I mean, even if you're just trying to treat him like a character who goes after other paranormal type, you know, characters, doesn't have to always be Jason, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and what he did say he wants to do that movie if he has to wait for all the rights things to work out. If he could get the rights, he would do Creighton Duke. But
he's not he can't be that far away from the 35-year rule. So
yeah. And he said even if he couldn't get the rights to Creighton Duke, who's to say that it just can't be the same actor and the same design, same outfit, just maybe a different name, you know, doing the same stuff. So that's what he said. But no, yeah, I do like Jason Goes to Hell. I do like Jason X. I know, but it is a shit movie. It is a shit movie compared to Jason Goes to Hell, in my opinion. But it is a fun watch, and the cast in that is pretty fun to see slaughtered. So I will say that.
And I mean, the only reason that Jason X exists is because they needed something to fill in the gap because they couldn't get Freddy versus Jason going.
So, and that's why they said it in the future and space is like, well, that way it don't interfere with anything that happens in the past with Freddy versus Jason. So yeah. But it
I mean, it's fine as having as like it's also ran, like I said, it's almost kind of like a satire of sorts. Even though you don't have a Cheech and Chong or a Abbott and Costello type in the movie per se, it still has that same kind of vibe to it where Jason's completely playing it straight, right? it's everybody else around him is goofy as hell, and it's clearly a little off from reality because it's this futuristic, kind of thing. And look, the characters are fine. It's not like it's a bad movie overall. It's just, it feels so separated from all the other fucking Jason movies that it might as well just be its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's basically Alien with Jason. So,
yeah.
really, I mean, it's just kind of funny, and it's a good thing it has its sense of humor about it, or it wouldn't have worked out.
Which is funny, is like, because like how I compared Jason Goes to Hell a little bit to, which I know some people may not like that, is because I compared Jason Goes to Hell a little bit to Friday the 13th Part 6, which is considered the best. But I did see parallels in those two movies. I would parallel Jason X to Jason Takes Manhattan with the students on the boat, because it's like the students in the spaceship.
Yeah, it has that kind of a flair to it, and that has a little bit more humor to it too as well.
Yes.
Yes. And see, Jason Goes to Hell does kind of also have its kind of standalone qualities to it, but you do need like the first couple movies to kind of really get into. I mean, you don't have to necessarily have seen all of them, but just to kind of at least understand the familial presence of Mrs. Voorhees and who she was and what she stands for in the franchise and stuff like that is kind of important. But outside of that, I mean, I like it because it's a nice bookend to the series. It works fine.
Mm-hmm.
Sets up Freddy versus Jason as well. So, yeah.
And I mean, thanks to that, Kane Hodder has now played not only Jason and Hatchet from the Hatchet movies, he's also played Freddy and Leatherface. So he's played all the big guys. So imagine that. The New Line just bought Jason because they just wanted the Jason. They just wanted Jason and Crystal Lake so they can make their own. So they didn't need all the other stuff.
It was mainly for Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, Freddy versus Jason, basically. So, yeah, that's why they got it.
Because the deal, they just couldn't get it going for years. Like, because they had talked about doing a Freddy versus Jason since the second film. Mm-hmm. So the second Nightmare on Elm Street film, I should say. And New Line just wanted Paramount to just license Freddy from them. That's what they wanted. But Paramount, I guess, just kept dragging their feet on it. And so eventually, once the luster kind of fell off for Jason, and it had been about 5 years since they had made a movie almost at that point. So the rights had come up, or Sean Cunningham I think he bought the rights or was part of it, the deal, because he had come back into the fold because he hadn't had anything to do with the franchise since the first film. I mean, I think he may have been listed as an executive, but because he got paid out or whatever. But I mean, the Frank Mancuso Jr. was the one who kind of really nursed the franchise from part 2 on until this film. And that was basically why, for those who may be like, well, why the fuck would Sean Cunningham want to get the mask out? That makes no sense. He hated this version of Jason. This was not his Friday the 13th. His Friday the 13th was Mrs. Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
And this version of Jason came along 2 movies after he was gone. So,
and it became the most popular version.
Yeah, or at least a movie after he was gone, I should say. Although the definitive version is probably in part 3. That's kind of why I said that. But yeah, he's Baghead, and then
yeah.
Either way, it's still all derivative of the same character. We came to learn that out in the court case.
Yeah.
So, but he notoriously had this hate for Jason.
Mm-hmm.
He did not like the character, did not like the hockey mask, never got it reportedly. And Adam even confirmed some of this stuff, basically. And he said in the story, he's like, Sean has since thrown me under the bus and denied it. Well, I would too, obviously. But at that time, I totally understand why. And I could see him doing that against his better judgment.
Yeah.
And basically, we're just lucky that Adam was a Friday the 13th fan, or the movie probably would have been worse.
Oh, yeah. And could you imagine if you got somebody, because he grew up with the Cunningham son and everything, and he was a fan of the franchise. So could you imagine if they got somebody else who, because like Adam was fighting. He put Jason in the mirror and everything. He tried his best. That's why I think maybe I like it, because he tried his best against a lot of odds. But could you imagine if he didn't direct it and Sean Cunningham got the person he wanted in there? They blew up Jason in the beginning of the movie, and you never saw Jason again, and it just was a body hopping snake thing.
Or it didn't even have Jason at all.
Or yeah, it could have just been it could have been like a little kid Jason in the beginning, and then write it off, and it's just some killer walking around or something like possessed.
Yeah, because I could have seen Cunningham being like, let's just try to find a way to recapture the original film.
Yeah.
And come up with a new character or a new reason or something like that. You know, or I could see like Adam's like, well, I want to introduce like he had a sister, and you know, there's this familial thing with she's got a daughter now and she's got a kid, and it's only a Voorhees that he can be reborn and killed, and he'd be like, well, why don't you just make his sister the killer now?
Yeah.
And that goes with the Mama Voorhees thing. Like
Yeah.
he would do something like that. See, I could see that. And it's just because he didn't get it, didn't like it. And you get that sometimes. And it's probably partially jealousy. That's why he doesn't want to wrap his head around it. Because yeah, Friday the 13th was huge, but nobody thinks of Mrs. Voorhees when they think of Friday the 13th.
They think of Jason.
And that was where I said the biggest mistake of that remake, and I said this to my buddy at the time, and I called it beat for beat. Not so much the movie, but even the campaign. I said, you watch, because when we heard about that remake back in the day, because he was the bigger Friday the 13th fan, I said, it's not going to be a remake of the first film. You know that, right? I said, it's going to show the first film in the first 5 minutes of the movie at the end. And that's going to be the setup. And it's going to be Jason sees his mom getting killed, and that's it. Because I guarantee you the first teaser poster is going to be nothing but black in that fucking mask. He's like, oh, I don't know about that. They're going to have to do more than that. And it's sure shit. First teaser poster doesn't say a goddamn thing. It's just that fucking mask. I said, I told you, motherfucker. And he goes, oh, it might even just be more like a sequel anyway, or something like that. I'm like, you watch, they're going to recap the first movie in the first 5 minutes. They take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
I think it's 8 minutes. They do the last 8 minutes of Friday the 13th, almost beat for beat. You might as well have just shown the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense. And this is why I can't get through this fucking movie again. I have tried, folks. I don't think I said this during the show. I think I said this before the show. So yeah, I've tried to watch that the last couple weeks here before this. I'm like, okay, now's the time I'm going to watch it. I tried again today. I can't get through this fucking. I hated this fucking movie. I hated it so bad. Because we're sitting there in the theater and he's like, okay, this is not so bad. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This is exactly what I said it was going to be. And I said, how stupid do you think it's going to be when he finds the mask? And then depending on which version it's still stupid in both versions.
The only thing I would really give the remake credit for is it has some great boobs
Tits
in the remake. That is
and
like
some good
the
kills.
best thing.
There's some great tits and some good kills.
There's some great tits and good kills.
The first half of the movie is okay. Right? The problem is you've got 3 movies crammed in one.
Yeah, because they put
that's the fucking problem here. Because if you're gonna do this correctly, it should be a fucking trilogy. It should be the first movie is you fuck with your audience, because guess what? Everybody going to this movie thinks it's gonna be Jason, except for us kids who know better.
Yeah.
And that's where we get to go, ha, we knew it wasn't Jason, you smart asses.
Yeah.
Because through the whole movie they're gonna go, I don't know why they're hiding the killer. We all know it's Jason. Yeah. Because the whole thing will be like, who's this killer? Who's this random killer? Who's doing all these killings? Oh, it's Mama Voorhees, and she's crazy as piss.
Yeah.
You know, and that should have way. And then from there you set up, yes, Jason saw it happen, and now he's on his rampage. He goes after the last living one in the beginning of part 2, where you have him in the baghead through all of part 2 until at the very end, guess what? He dons the mask, finally. Finally. And then you have something that leads you into a third final film. And they did this through all the movies. Each one connects with the last one.
Yeah, in the first 4.
That's why I love, which is funny, is they're called Friday the 13th, part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When it's like, no, it should be like Friday the fucking 18th. Because it's like a fucking week later now.
Yeah.
Because 2, 3, and 4... all take place within the same 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it's all right there. Yeah, but yeah, the remake does have some really great boobs in it.
And my issue with it is in the second half is this. It's fine and it's okay until that fucking dungeon.
Yeah.
Jason does not take fucking prisoners.
Yeah. You
can trick him momentarily. You can disorient him. if you put on his mama's fucking, you know, sweater and you happen to be female and go, mama's not happy, you need to listen to mama, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then he'll listen for like 5 minutes, and then you wait a minute, you're not my mother.
Yeah.
And then he
I'm a
snaps out of
waterhead,
it.
but I ain't dumb.
Yeah, I'm a waterhead, but I ain't dumb. And that don't last long. He's not going to keep anybody captive for what?
Yeah.
That's Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, why would he? That's what I felt like when I got to the second half of the film. I'm like, this is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, only dumb.
Yeah.
Like, why are we in this underground dungeon? He's supposed to have a little cabin in the woods with a teddy bear. What the fuck is this?
Which is funny because the same director did the Texas Chainsaw remake, and it's better. It's a better movie. So
you can tell he wanted to make the proper sequel to it then, and he didn't get to.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it turns into is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 at the last half of the movie.
It does. With everything going.
Because otherwise, you're right. Like the guy from Supernatural playing basically the same part as the guy from Part 4. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Because that's what I would have put in Part 3. Yeah. I would have skipped over, like I would have combined basically 2, 3, and some maybe 6 into the other 2 films in the trilogy is what I would have done.
Yeah. That's you're not wrong, and yeah, like the guy from Supernatural is great, and they do the final girl dirty and make it to where, you know, like they kill her just like right out of the blue when you think they're at the home stretch. All of a sudden she just gets killed for no reason, and his sister becomes the
yeah. Well, that was my other issue with the movies. You have 3 false starts in this movie, or 2 false starts in this movie. Like the movie doesn't even really start until almost an hour into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or 40 minutes into the movie. In fact, I think this has a Guinness for almost, no, I think I looked it up. It's like 3rd or 4th for the longest opening sequence before the title.
Mm.
Because it goes for the first 8 minutes without, and then you cut into the other bits, and it doesn't say Friday the 13th until after those first group of kids are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the brother of the one girl comes in, and she's the only one I think that survived, and she's being held captive by Jason.
Yeah.
Right. So it does. It feels like 3 movies crammed into one. And honestly, I don't know if I'd prefer the theatrical or the killer cut. Yeah, the tits and stuff are a plus, but I think I prefer even though they're both stupid, I think the mask, how he gets the mask in the theatrical is better.
The weed guy.
That's the better one, yeah.
Yeah.
The other one goes on for too long. And then, yeah, so it just, I don't know. I haven't got around to it. I don't know if I'll ever get through it. I would.
Hey, Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X, you can watch them way more than the remake.
Yeah, which is sad because the remake could have just worked as kind of this revival / sequel, right? Like you just recap the beginning, and then from there on out, as long as he acts like Jason, it don't fucking matter. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, I even think it's kind of funny that it's the same character from Transformers. That one kid is.
Oh yeah, the blonde
kid.
Yeah, same kid, which is funny. Hey, and if you ever wanted to see Kane Hodder, Jason kill the remake Jason, just watch Hatchet 2. The Hatchet 2. Yeah, he killed him. They have a little thing about it, like, you know, he gets to kill him as that. So it's pretty cool. Like he gets to kill all the major horror people in the Hatchet movies. He kills the remake Jason, the remake Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, so many of them. Like the Leatherface from Part 3. He gets to kill them all. Like, you know, it's fun. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that remake. It's just there's parts of it I like it. You know, but there's
the only good thing I can say about it is it's not as bad as the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
The Nightmare on Elm Street remake is the worst, absolute worst. I think Damien Leone, who did Terrifier movies, has the right idea. Like I think I told you already on here, is like he would love to do a Friday the 13th movie, but it has to be set in the 80s. It would be a period piece movie because you have to keep them in the 80s without the cell phones, without all the modern day stuff, practical effects, and all that stuff. But you know, but also like you said, I haven't seen Part 3, and Part 3 is not as good as the other 2 Terrifier movies. So, but there you guys have it. if you want Jason Goes to Hell in 4K, I think it's worth it. If you want Jason X on 4K, just stick with your Blu-ray. Or if you're a DVD guy, stick with your
it looks
DVD.
great.
So
Jason Goes to Hell 4K looks amazing though.
Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell looks great, and it's got new special features on it and stuff. So
it does have some new and it has all the stuff from Shout carried over.
Yeah.
So if you missed out on the Shout one,
so if you missed out on it, there you have it.
Because you can't get that one individually like you can Jason X, right? So as far as I know, that one only came out on DVD before. So
yeah. Yes, physical media is forever, everybody. So, but yeah, the box set is great too. If you guys want to get the Shout box set, I think there's still a lot of those available, so you can get those. But yes, F Shout Factory. So, but any final words? I guess that's all we got for the night.
Well, yeah, the box set's decent, but it's slowly becoming obsolete, except for a few films at this point.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if you want to
get
it,
didn't remaster. Was it 6, 7, and 8, or even 5, 6, 7, and 8? I think it was. It was only the first 4, I think, were the only ones that got remastered. So,
yeah, and then Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason were all bought on spindles. Like, what that means is, like, they bought from Warner Brothers. They bought a big old spindle of the Blu-rays they already made. So
Freddy vs. Jason has me worried now because I know that's probably a 2K
up converted.
DI.
Yeah, that'll be something. Maybe they'll treat it a little better with that, maybe it'll be.
Maybe that's what's taking so long, is they're going back to the actual fucking camera negative. That'd be nice.
Or maybe they're going to put it in the Nightmare on Elm Street box set.
I don't know, because I think that's only supposed to have 7 films in it.
Really? I thought maybe they would add it in, but you never know.
And they always consider. See, that's the funny part, is even though that you would think. But I think that New Line considers it a Jason film. Because I've never seen it in an actual box set with Nightmare on Elm Street, unless it's in that newer DVD set that I've never bought because I already have the Blu-rays.
I don't know.
But I never checked to see if Freddy vs. Jason was in there, because I know the remake is. But I think it's like an 8-film set, and it doesn't have Freddy vs. Jason, but it has the remake in it. That's my memory. See, because for some reason, somebody told me, I can't remember who it was, somebody around either whatever, people I know.
Yeah.
Something that, like, yeah, that's considered a Jason film. That's why. Kind of like how, it's weird, but like the Alien versus Predator films, like they consider it, at first it was considered a Predator film franchise, but now it's like on its own. So yeah, like, go figure on that one too. Like it's not considered canon to either franchise, I guess. So yeah.
Well, it makes sense because it is definitely more of a Jason film than a Freddy film in that movie, even though
he is more of the hero. Yes.
Yeah, he's more of the guy. So that makes sense. But I know I did when I bought the Blu-ray set, which is the first, just 7 films. They gave me a digital code for all 7 films, the remake, and Freddy vs. Jason. I'll come with the digital code when I bought that Blu-ray set. So, which was funny because they're not those Blu-rays are not in that set. But they give.
I'm interested if it's not in that other DVD set that has the remake, then that's what it's all about. Because it's kind of the same thing with, like, it's just the way they consider things and the way they run things. Like, that's why they won't technically release the Snyder cut of the Justice League theatrically. Why they couldn't do the thing, and you have to do private screenings for it. That's why when Zack Snyder does a screening of it, it's always private screenings.
All right. Well,
because if you ask for the Justice League in a theater, they won't send you the DCI for the Snyder one. They send you the original theatrical one.
Good figure, huh?
Well, and technically, I think also partially because that's rated for theaters, and I don't think that the Zack Snyder one's even rated. So
yeah, it may not be at all, huh? And plus, it was originally supposed to be like a TV series the way they spaced it out.
That's the other thing, is I think they legally can't. That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
Because of how it's structured tax-wise and all that business. So, yeah.
But all right, guys, I hope we gave you some good.
Yeah, we definitely tried to give you a show's worth.
Yeah, we tried to give you a show's worth. Yeah, it's a shame I did try to get Adam Marcus, the director, just on here tonight. Just
it would have been fun.
Yeah, it would have been fun. And some of the other guests I've been trying to get are busy too, but they are planning on joining us. They are just.
I mean, we just wanted him to come on here so we could suck his dick. I mean, Jesus, that's the least he could have done. I mean, It's not like we're gonna be mean to him. We've been like, dude, this looks great. It's amazing. Like I even should have known because my tweet. I mean, if you even put 2 and 2 together, I don't even know if he knew I was on the show. But yeah, like we're fans.
Yeah, I do
You're
like
one of the
it.
only other people I've met in this community that actually likes this movie. So
I know I'm
kinda...
one of the very few. I'm very few. But like I said, to me, it always felt like a Universal monster movie. That's why I think I liked it. That's what it felt like to me when I saw it. So yeah, and I'm not saying it's the best because look, I know the hate these movies get. Like I said, Part 6 is my favorite Jason. I love the first 8 movies, but I also do love Jason Goes to Hell. There's just something about the movie I really.
Well, you and I
love.
have a lot in common in that sense. Like it seems like we have similar tastes when it comes to the franchise.
Yes,
and even my buddy who's made because like growing up, like I was the Freddy guy, he was the Jason guy.
Yeah,
right.
And I would admit I'm a Freddy guy because I was more into Freddy than Jason. So,
but like you have very similar taste to me, and even he like I think his favorite one is 7, which is generally the fan favorite. And then 6, if not vice versa, maybe he does like 6. I can't remember which, but last I knew. But he also does love Jason Goes to Hell quite a bit. Yeah. But again, he's the same age as me, so I think there's a certain small following or group of that like the movie that are in our age group. And it also has a very Sam Raimi-esque quality to it too, but it helps just because, you know, Adam knew all those guys like Rob Tappert and all that stuff. So, and that's kind of how the Necronomicon wound up in the movie. It was kind of a nod to, you know, them. And I still say to this day, Rob was the guy who stole the original Freddy Claw. I'm almost positive that's what happened. It's because it disappeared. It wound up on the Evil Dead set and never made its way back.
Very much. Because
I believe he was the one who supposedly got it from whoever it was from Nightmare 2, and then all hell broke loose because the claw was missing.
Yeah. The physical first streaming where, Corley and Rogue, of what movies? I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Myers. I would probably go. Mine's Freddy, Jason, Myers, and then Leatherface is like my top. That's how I would put them of those guys.
It depends on what day you ask me. I might put Myers above Jason. But my main list is like Freddy, Chucky, then either Jason or Mike. They're really tied, close tie. And then sometimes I think like with especially things like H2O really helps bump Halloween up, but then you got the last couple movies which really tore it down. But Friday is probably the most consistent of all. It's like the Friday I've called Friday the Police Academy of the which is fitting because it feels like because almost every year they had one come out in the 80s, and they pretty much just like, yep, we got another one of those, and they were all pretty much as popular as the last one, and people just made sure they went to see them or rented them, and it was just kind of one of those things. Oh, there's a new Police Academy movie. Oh, there's a new Friday the 13th movie. They're just kind of synonymous in that way, and they did help keep Paramount afloat in lesser times, right? Like they made them a lot of money. And when they stopped making them so much money, that's when they sold Jason off to New Line. So, and
then when a New Line stopped making them money, now there's a legal battle.
Well, then there was a legal battle, but now it's been sorted out as far as we can tell. So yeah.
Well, one of my favorite, like even though I love Halloween 3, I do love Halloween 3, but one of my favorite things is with Joe Bob Briggs because he does not like Halloween 3. One of my favorite arguments he has is that you know, with the Friday the 13th movies, and why couldn't the Halloween movies be like the Friday the 13th movies? They made the same movie 8 times and it worked every 8 times.
Well, this is what I hate about how they've said in the last few years. Oh, we just can't seem to get it figured out or can't put something together to do a Friday the 13th movie or whatever. It's like bullshit. Just get fucking $10-15 million together. You need some woods, a big stunt guy. Hell, Kane Hodder'd still do it.
Yeah, he wants to.
And a couple of fucking adults who kind of look like teenagers, which we all know they're not going to look like teenagers. So.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They never
Especially
do.
If they show some boobage and stuff. So
that's the thing. We're so used to these movies having 30-year-old teenagers in them. So like, yeah. So are we that impressed with that kind of business? No, it's just we know what it is. But like Yeah, just give us something. Like, it doesn't have to be anything that special. We've already gotten the Jason X. We've already got the Jason Goes to Hell. We got the Freddy versus Jason. A lot of us just want to get back to the regular. Just give us a fucking Jason movie. A straight up just fucking Jason movie. I don't care if it's in the snow. It snows around Friday the 13th. I'm sure it's in Jersey.
Yeah. And it's the only one I'd be, because like I'm okay with there not being another Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm okay with there not being another Halloween movie. But with Jason, it needs one more because that makes it 13 Jason movies. So...
Well, you can just keep going with Jason. Look, I love Kane to death, but Jason's been played by just as many people as fucking Michael Myers has at this point. So, I mean, does he own the character? Yeah, but I don't know if he has ownership over the character. I mean, yes, he's the best we've ever had. I would love to see him back again. He could play it until he can't play it anymore. Fine by me. But yeah, there's no reason that Paramount or New Line or whoever owns the rights to this now shouldn't, and along with Victor Miller, shouldn't be spitting out a dozen of these movies every few years. Like, it's nonsense. Yes, we're getting that series, but I'm not even sure what that series is going to be anymore after Brian Fuller's gone. So but that being said, this is what he sent us. It's basically showing that a lot of these bit rates aren't much higher than standard DVDs on a lot of these streaming services. And no, I'm not surprised at all. You could tell.
You can tell. I mean, with physical media, the bit rate, the sound, the picture quality, it's all better than streaming in any way, shape, or form. So just
which is sad because I think a lot of these issues we're having with, you know, the overgrain management and stuff like that, I think is just, it's for the streaming version, which I don't care if you do it for the streaming version. Don't do it for my home media version.
Yeah, don't do it for the physical copy, people, please. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you to everybody in the chat, everybody at home watching on the YouTubes and watching on the Twitters. I appreciate you all. Next Wednesday, the show falls on my birthday. So next Wednesday, it's my birthday on the physical media show. So maybe we'll do a little, I don't know if we'll do something special or not, but at least we're going to do the show, barring any women asking me out. So we're going to do the show. Maybe we'll have some fun.
Do you hear that, ladies?
Yes. I mean,
next Wednesday night, you could be busy with Greg.
Yes.
Come wish him a happy birthday.
Do it. Thank you, Stephen. But yeah, so next Wednesday we'll see what we talk about along with our copies of physical on the physical media show. But as always, like, share, subscribe to Midnight Zeds After Dark. Appreciate you guys. Always support physical media because it really is truly the superior format. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.